there, buddy. It's me, Little Weiger. We've got a big new episode of Doughboys Double, so we made it free for everyone. See, we paid a visit to Little Canada, Toronto's amazing miniatures exhibit, and we talked about it with some cool new friends. This week on Doughboys Double, Toront-dough, Dough Canada, The Great Bite North, a culinary tour of the six continues with Little Canada.
Will you shut the fuck up? Finally, let's start the show.
Welcome to Doughboys Double. I'm Nick Weiger, along with the Spoon Man, Mike Mitchell. Mitch, as Toront-dough, Dough Canada, The Great Bite North, a month-long culinary tour of the six continues.
Wow.
Wow.
And reality kind of ends.
Well, this is the final in-person record up here at Podium Studios in Toronto.
I'm like...
Bad to the bone?
Yeah, I'm excited that it's ending. I'm saying, like, I'm done. We're done with our work.
Well, why that's cute? Why bad to the bone?
Because I was like raising my eyebrow.
Oh, it's like a horny thing.
We're not done. We're
I'm
doing
not horny.
an episode.
I'm never horny. I was just saying, like, we're done, Ben. Like, it was like kind of a
right. It's like a needle drop in like a
one of our guests laughed. That's all we need.
It was out of pity.
It was a little.
I was like, I get he's going for a bit here. I'm gonna throw a laugh, but I do not.
It resembled a bit.
Yes, it was a bit. I was happy.
Kind of like the seller, like.
Should I done?
So yeah, Cool and the Gang Celebration. I would have gotten more.
All right,
that I would have gotten more.
Genuine
more
laugh.
on the nose.
I'm excited it's done. I'm excited you're
come on
out of here,
Mitch. I'm excited about that too. Although I've enjoyed my time up here in Toronto. Lovely town.
Do we do a thing where we record all of our episodes in 4 months? And like really have a concentrated hate for each other, and then have time off.
No, I think we need to have a better system. I think we'll figure this out in the next year. We did the best we could with your abrupt change of schedule, with your wonderful success, and working on your great show up here.
Hollywood calls, you pick up the phone, man. You know what I mean?
Yes. What's that, Mr. Weinstein? I'll be right there.
Mitch. Harvey Weinstein, stand down and stand by.
Mitch, well, it's great. We've had a lot of our old friends up here. Our Canadian friends, a lot of like friends that are Americans that are working up here.
I think you're alluding to some new friends.
This is the thing. We have some new friends here.
New friends.
I'm
They're actually
thrilled.
kind of more my new friends, not yours, but whatever.
Okay, well, I'm thrilled to have them on the podcast. We at least have mutual friends in common. Toronto's own Carson Pinch and Taylor Davis. Thanks so much for being here, guys.
Thank you so much. I'm totally open for new friends.
I love it.
Nick, we're game.
That's great. Let's exchange numbers.
Yeah, my schedule is really heavy at the moment, but
okay, that's fine.
Mine's wide open.
Just so busy.
Yeah.
Now, our friend in common
Good
is
choice, by the way.
Our friend in common is Blank Checks Griffin Newman.
Correct.
And he connected all of us. And while I'm on that note, I will say...
You're not on the text chain.
That's fine. We connected all of us. You're on the text chain because you're up here, because you guys can hang out or whatever.
Which, to be fair, we started a text chain about in the beginning of August. And we have not hung out until we did the live show the other night. Is the first time I saw you.
This is my first time meeting you.
This is our first time meeting.
Yeah.
Though I feel like we've known each other forever.
I know.
Yeah, it's
like
been a while.
A lot of texting we did.
The way Griffin explained this too, if I can, is that he was like, my friend's coming up there to film. He doesn't know anybody.
He's really depressed.
He's really lonely. He really
hates his life.
And we were like, oh, okay, wow. So this guy really needs like a buddy. So we were like right away, like, hey man, like how are you? What do you need? Any recommendations that you need? We'll help you out.
I said, see you later, suckers.
Yeah.
The city is mine. I went in towards the city. He was right.
Yeah, to be fair, you
Depressed, lonely man. It's true.
I think you were kind of, early on, I think you were kind of a little homesick. And I think that was kind of coming through, at least in communicating with you electronically.
First week in New Orleans, having a fucking ball.
Yeah.
There were some things that made the journey here a little rocky.
A little arduous.
When I first got there. But there's something I'll say. There's a subject we're talking about today, which we'll get into. But I'll say this. things changed.
Things changed.
That's all I can't without spoiling anything.
Yeah.
Wow.
Things changed. You know what I'm alluding to,
Look,
Wags.
Things change. Burner. Okay, so you also connected us with Miguel Gauthier, who performed a French language version of the Doughboys intro in our live show. Miguel, a great dude, very, very happy to meet him. We appreciate that connection a lot.
Well, yeah, like I don't really listen to. Something that Smith earlier was like, don't listen to podcasts.
Yeah,
and then
that's the right call.
As
so
a
I asked Miguel, and I was like, because you had said I need someone who's bilingual, and I knew Miguel was an improviser.
Yeah,
and I was like, do you know Doughboys? He's like, yes. I'm like, oh, okay, cool. Like, I kind of know one of them. He's like, which one? And I'm like, well, okay. Like, and I connected. I don't think he believed me for a majority of it until I think it came to be.
Was he more excited that it was me?
I mean, he didn't
care.
I believe his response was, "Oh, cool," but that's how I read it. It could have been, "Oh, cool."
Yeah, that's true.
I don't know.
That's true. I think it was. I like to believe that it was. Oh, cool.
Miguel was lovely. So Miguel's from Manitoba. I'm curious, each of you, are you from Ontario? Like, how long have you lived in Toronto?
We are from Ontario. We're from a small town called Sarnia, Ontario.
I'm from Brigden, Ontario,
which is a small subsect of Sarnia, Ontario.
540 people.
Yes.
That is a small town.
70,000.
It's a small oil and petrochemicals city.
Is it akin to Hamilton, which I know about through Mitch?
Well, Steel City.
Steel City, right? But it's part of the industrial heartland of Canada.
It's my people are in Hamilton. Salt of the earth, hard workers. We put our hard hat on. We come and record podcasts every day.
Exactly. Yeah, Sarnia is the cancer capital of Canada.
That's true. Man.
And
if you're from Sarnia, every single person you know will die from cancer.
Oh my God!
A statistic.
Why is it the cancer capital?
Well, they built the largest petrochemicals plant in North America there, and when they did that, it was out of a time where they put it really close to the city. Like, you would never be able to put the plant so close to people nowadays.
Jeez.
And it just still lives there. And there's sirens that go off every so often, and you know
music to
that
my
you
ears.
just go back. You go inside, you shut the windows. And
like an air raid siren. Like basically like
100%.
we're dispensing some deadly chemicals into the atmosphere. Get the fuck indoors.
Yeah.
It's possible that the outbreak monkey is also in the city too, if that happens, right? Could it be the outbreak monkey?
It could be. I think it's the same system.
Sorry.
Same warning system.
But he's actually really nice.
He's cool. He's really
He's
cool.
got a job at Chemical Valley. Like, he works there. Like, he's done a lot.
Oh, that's what he did after the
the film. Like,
Salt
he
of
was
the
like,
earth. Yeah.
You know, he's a dick. Curious George.
Oh, I've
Guy's
heard that.
He's like a prima donna. Yeah.
He knows what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing.
You know, you know. Do you know who our good friends is? The monkey from Friends.
Yeah.
And the outbreak monkey.
They hang out. Yeah.
They hang
They
out.
look very similar.
Yeah. Are they the same?
And there was that meme that went crazy, the IKEA monkey.
Oh, right.
You
That was
remember that?
here.
That
That
was
was here.
That was here.
Yeah.
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 Wow.
The IKEA monkey in a parka.
Yeah. Good monkey. One of our best monkeys.
It was just cute.
Yeah, he was cute as hell.
I
Love
remember
that
there was an explosion at Chemical Valley a long time ago.
Oh my God.
No one died. No one got hurt. But I remember when it happened because I was staring out my bathroom window, as you do.
Yeah, sure.
I was just staring, but the window was open, and I heard a distant and I was like, what was that? And then my window went just did like a shake. And I've always had like a
Horrifying.
deep fear of asteroids or nuclear weapons.
Yeah.
So I ran out through my brother's balcony window and then climbed up to my roof to wait for like the shock blast because I was like.
Sounds like you were embracing it almost.
I was ready.
Yeah.
I had been dreaming about this for years.
You fear it, but you want to experience it 100%.
I feel like I'm going to. I always have these dreams where a tornado just appears on my farm.
Yeah.
And I'm like, here it goes.
You grew up on a farm as well.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you went up to the roof to embrace it, and then just
Nothing happened. And then I just found out on the news that it was just an explosion. But I was like, do you remember when that happened?
Yeah.
Like, it was a big deal.
Were
Like,
you
was this
Did
when you-
close
this
the
was when you were
windows at this
kids?
point?
No, I didn't know what was going on.
Yeah.
But this is also, I think it's about like 30 kilometers away from me.
And sometimes they don't tell you
Yeah, they do.
about these things and you find out after the fact, like what happened.
Dear God.
This is terrifying.
Yeah, and swimming, growing up swimming in the lake, You'll find out like, oh, by the way, you weren't supposed to be swimming yesterday. It was not safe. But then today is okay.
Right.
So you're like, wait, what's changed in the water? Like you're like, it's just not as bad.
Sarnia's going to be so pissed about this.
Yeah. We love it. Don't get us wrong. I love going back home.
Who's going to be so pissed about it?
There's a little bit
the town.
There's a little bit of
they
got a chip on their shoulder a little bit. Every time I go home, like if they find out that anyone has discouraged Sarnia in any like little way, people talk about it.
Sure, yeah.
But I will talk up Brigden, the small town, the small village.
How many people?
540.
Yeah.
540. Yeah.
That's where I grew up, which is about half hour away from Sarnia. So then I went to like theater camp when I was 13 and I met Carson.
Wow.
We met when we were...
This collab has been going for since you were teenagers.
Yeah, 26 years.
That's amazing.
I went to theater camp as well. Wags?
I never went to theater camp. I went to music camp. Camp Arrow
So the
Bear.
three of us.
That's why we're closer.
That's why we're really good friends. Yeah.
And the third, is it Nick is the third? Is it Nick?
Yeah.
And we
McKinley.
met him probably about 3 years
Mitch,
after that.
I'm Nick.
Oh, sorry, you're Nick.
Yeah.
Our
Sorry.
friend.
I'm
Nick.
Oh, there's
Nick
another
too.
Nick. Yeah, so there's
There's
another
another Nick that we're friends with.
Got it. Fair. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay,
the Nick that we're friends with. You're
Yeah,
my
the three of us.
coworker.
So how long have you lived in Toronto now?
2011.
2011, okay, so
We
you've been
moved
here
at
a
the
while.
same time.
Yeah, we moved to we started doing theater camp, teaching comedy in Connecticut, and that's where we met Griff.
Wow.
Did he come to you as a student of comedy?
No, he was already teaching. He was a junior counselor at that time.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, and we were just a couple of goofball Canadians coming in to teach our improv. And
It's funny that you say that because not to derail you real quick, but just what you just said, like, because we've been talking about the movie Megalopolis, which Francis Ford Coppola directed.
I
And the
gotta watch
character
it.
in
I gotta see it.
Megalopolis, Aubrey Plaza plays, is called Wow Platinum. That's the character's name, Wow Platinum. We say the word wow a lot on the Doughboys, and we also, if something gets 5 forks, we induct it into the Platinum Plate Club. Wow Platinum, both references to Doughboys, I believe. I believe Francis Ford Coppola is a listener of the podcast
Which
because
makes sense
because Mitch and
we're
I too are a Coppola goofballs.
goofballs.
yeah.
So yeah, so you're a
So
couple
by the
of
way, I just want to say that I looked at Emma and she shook her head no. I looked at Mars, she shook her head.
Yeah. I pictured Francis Ford Coppola listening to this going, oh, and then shutting down his computer. Being like,
That's true. He's done that twice a week, every week in the month of October.
So it's very annoying, and he's going to add it to the one I think he forgot.
No, but I just want to go back to that. So you were talking about like you guys are a couple of goofballs. You are meeting Griffin Newman at camp.
Yeah, summer camp in Connecticut. It's a rich kid camp. All the New York
elites
intelligentsia
send
their children there.
Right.
A lot of pale kids, people who do not cannot throw a ball.
I'd fit right
whatsoever.
in. Sounds great for me.
It's amazing. And we taught comedy, and we moved to New York. It was too hard to live there, and so we moved to Toronto.
because we were illegal immigrants.
Right,
That
that's the
is
whole
generally
thing,
the
yeah.
reason why it was too difficult.
Ugh.
Every time sorry, I know you get really upset. But every time I crossed the border, I did the same trick where I just have 1 week's worth of clothes. I'm like, oh, I'm just visiting my friends in New York. And then they're like, when are you returning? I'm like, oh, in a bit. Like, and then when I was coming back to visit, I was like, oh, I'm just coming back from New York when I'd visit my family. Only one time did they grill me, like bring me into a room.
Oh, wow.
And like give me
After you took a bunch of pets, the dogs, the cats.
No, it was I went in there. She just didn't buy it. She saw through me. But everyone I'm working with her was like,
You
you
were eating the dogs. You were eating.
I
the
wasn't
cats.
eating dogs and cats. That's not true.
Eating the
Eating
pets
the
that-
dogs and eating the cats. This is what he warned us about.
Yeah.
I wanted to build I told you I want to build a wall.
I
a
grew up
northern
on
wall.
a farm. Okay, you eat what you get.
I want to build a northern wall and keep you guys in Canada away from the United States. That's what I want to do. And I told you if Trump had run on that, Wags,
It's a long
we would
border.
have still voted for him.
It's a long border.
I gotta say this.
Largest unguarded border
That's
in
true.
the world.
That's true.
Yeah.
Yes.
We gotta guard it.
No, there's some spots where you can just like kind of hop over.
Yeah, that's wild.
I could guard it.
I'll do it.
I could do it.
You guys should do. You guys should do
you guys
it.
should do it. That'd be fun.
It will be silly and fun. I
Yeah.
feel like.
Yeah.
There's one thing here. The monkey from Friends is the monkey from Outbreak.
It's the same monkey.
Same monkey.
Marcel, which is very similar to someone we might talk about today. Marcel,
Mm.
and then also
Spoily.
we have to talk about this. While you were off getting coffee,
That's right.
for 20 minutes.
It's not my fucking fault.
It's 25.
You were
30 minutes.
nervous yesterday when we were going to go to Little Canada.
That's right.
Ooh.
We went to Little Canada.
Yesterday, and I was going to go get McDonald's, and I was like, I can get this and be back in 10 to 15
Yeah.
minutes. And then it took you about 20 minutes.
This all would have worked. This all look. I have.
And I
This is
added
all-
a
this is-
coffee to your order to make it longer.
That's fine. This is all a domino. This is all a domino effect from you being late for breakfast. That's okay. That's all right.
You think
We
it's
would've
a
had extra
domino
time.
effect from me being late to breakfast?
Yeah, if we would have had time, if you would have been on time for that, we would have ended in time for me to get a coffee before this record.
I will say we
Okay.
didn't
No,
order
no, no.
anything because we were respectful of the
Yeah.
time.
I
You
think
guys
you
were
were doing
very respectful of the time. And you know what, Wags? I found a little factoid out that I was going to tell you, and then you're
Please.
blaming me.
Yeah.
So,
I was perfectly on time.
Thank you, Emma.
Thank you.
wow, pretty easy for you two seeing this. You were next door, you fucking
I was
assholes.
at the dollar store.
So there we go.
I was up at 7:30. All right, sorry, keep going.
I don't give a shit when you were up. I was up at 2 a.m. There you go.
all right.
Fuck off. Jesus. No, you'll understand so soon. I promise you. Taylor, can you please tell Weiger the factoid you told me that I told you
Please.
that he would love?
Oh, it was that my father is a train mechanic.
Wow.
Yeah, you
What
really do like
specifically?
it. I don't know, like train.
That's cool. Wait, did he like what?
Don't you want to tell him to fuck off?
What? No, I mean it's
You're living in you're living in a small you're living in Brigden, population 540, and you are there. Like your father is living with you.
540.
yeah. So
Is there
Sarnia
like,
is the closest.
Sarnia is the
city.
closest city,
Yeah.
and the train station there is that where he's largely working?
No, he worked for CN.
CN. Okay.
And then he started his own business that was based in Sarnia, and they were like
Got it.
mechanics for hire.
Oh wow. Okay.
Like I don't know anything more than that. Like I went into the arts.
Do you
Got
do you
it.
know much about the train like industry in Canada?
Only peripherally. You
Sure.
know, I saw some of the exhibits, and we were walking around Toronto, and I saw some of the rail cars that were set up on display there. And I've know a little bit peripheral research about it, but I've never like ridden the rails up here. I'd love to do it. Love to
Sure.
hop on one of those cars going from like Banff to Toronto or whatever.
Do you
It's
think you'd ever
beautiful.
ride Ozzy Osbourne's Crazy Train?
Yeah,
You
I
love
thought
trains,
about
but
it,
you
right.
think you would get on it?
Yeah.
Jeez.
I mean-
seems scary.
Yeah, but he's saying all aboard.
That is true.
It's-
He
it
does
is very
welcome
welcoming.
aboard. Yeah,
It's really
it's
welcoming.
You
true.
don't even need a ticket.
Yeah.
I mean,
This
really,
is
when you
great
think about
value.
the message of the Crazy Train, it's like crazy. Hey, but that's how it goes.
Yeah.
Millions of people are living as foes. Maybe it's not too late to learn how to love and forget how to hate. It's a pretty wholesome message, ultimately.
Yeah,
on
it
the
is.
Crazy
But it's also
Train.
still
right. Yeah, good.
pistol wheels. What is it?
Going off the rails on a Crazy Train.
Yeah, going off the
Yeah,
rails.
that's a little
Well,
intense.
I mean, they don't slow down in residential areas.
Right.
That's their issue. They
All right.
fly through that.
Don't you want him to tell? Don't you want to tell him to fuck off a little bit?
I don't know why you're pushing this so hard. He's
Just
respecting
try it.
my father's position.
I think it's really
and how
cool.
he raised us.
Yeah, I think that-
I'm a Hamilton man. I know how it is for the fucking working
Okay,
class.
Salt of the
Hamilton
earth.
to Brigden is like that's the city. You don't know the salt.
Oh my
The
god!
salt of the earth.
540 population. Is that real?
It's just farm.
Calloused hands.
Your hands are. You don't even get it. It's like
Yeah, right. Are you kidding me? I've holding podcast mice all day. I'm calloused up. Why?
Now that hand's getting plenty of workout. Okay, so so you live in Toronto since 2011. We talked about a couple of topics. One I do want to touch on real quick.
Sure.
Is the Old Spaghetti Factory.
Ooh.
Now, this is a chain we do have in Southern California, and I used to go to the Old Spaghetti Factory as a kid. I've never looked into the Old Spaghetti Factory's origins. Is it from Canada? Do we know?
I believe the origins are in Canada.
I guess I could have looked this up in advance. I'll look it
I
up right now.
have been to the LA location of the old spaghetti factory.
Yes.
Griff has been pushing me to go to the spaghetti factory so much, and his other recommendation worked out. So I do need to go before I leave.
We should definitely go.
we have been
Yeah, I would
going
love
for
to.
10 years.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Oh, wow.
Yes, every year.
Okay,
we
it is
go.
just real quick. There is a it is like A&W, whereas there is a schism between the
Right,
American and the
right,
Canadian
yeah,
brands, so
that is it.
they're separately owned.
Yeah,
yeah.
correct. The Canadian ones, I would say, are a little better.
I would not doubt it. A&W Canada is far superior to A&W USA.
Hey.
There it
We
is.
could go tonight.
I might be down.
We're not doing anything.
I mean,
We can make this happen.
I'm
mean-
just saying we could go to the old spaghetti factory tonight. We were gonna go to Prime Seafood Palace instead.
Now, I will warn you, The spaghetti is old.
It's quite old. But who wants
what does that mean
new
exactly?
spaghetti? It's in the name.
It's old. Oh, okay.
Now you can eat on a streetcar, which is nice.
That is cool.
And they do have a crystal room that you can eat in. We've been taking people there for years now. Become friends with the wait staff there. It's a special place. The food,
not good.
It's more about the vibes.
It's the
vibes that are impeccable at the old Spaghetti Factory. And it's been years since I've been, but I always had a great time.
Yeah, there's spaghetti.
I'll be happy as hell.
But are the meatballs new?
No, Jesus.
No, they've been sitting there a while.
Nor is that spaghetti.
The last time that I ordered there, I didn't order the spaghetti, and someone asked me why, and I was like, the one thing that I've always regretted ordering at the old Spaghetti Factory is spaghetti.
Wow.
Every time.
And this is the place that Griff says we have to go more than anywhere else.
It comes with a free coffee at the end of it.
Oh, that's true.
I mean,
that's true.
I do remember it's like
cream.
coffee, tea, and lemonade, right? Did you have a drink choice or is it just coffee?
Yeah, coffee, tea, and lemonade, and ice cream. A little bit of ice cream.
That's
yeah.
great.
Ooh, all right.
Is that on there?
Yeah. You should get some spaghetti with butter on it if you like. That's one option.
I like spaghetti with butter.
Yeah, why not?
Classic.
Plain noodle, a little bit of
Plain
butter.
noodle with some butter on there? That sounds great. I'm in.
Yeah, the only thing is like
He's not gonna go.
You're like the spaghetti's old, but at least it's like handmade by like artists and chefs. Like it's
factory made.
No, it's factory made. It's factory made. Yeah,
Taking
kind of assembly
old
line.
spaghetti and making more old spaghetti.
Yeah.
Like you cannot have fresh spaghetti.
Isn't Old Spaghetti Factory a level in Mario Odyssey?
It is, yeah.
Did you guys ever go to Eastside Mario's? Was ever a thing?
We have never been to Eastside Mario's. That is a Canadian chain that is owned by the same company that owns Harvey's and Swiss Chalet and the Keg now. It's all one company. We've never been.
Great company.
We've discussed this with Mars. We should discuss it with you guys too. We should give you a rundown. Tim Hortons I liked. I yelled at the audience. I said, you all like Tim Hortons too.
Well, we love to hate it.
You love to hate it, but they also do genuinely love it. The stores are packed there.
Well, I think this is, again, this thing.
We were there Sunday at 5 p.m.
Yes,
packed.
You can go a lot and still be like kind of frustrated with it. You know, you can be like, this is my place that I go to, but it still kind of sucks. I go to Starbucks more than I'd like to, and I think Starbucks kind of sucks, but sometimes it's the best option.
You know what? We can just ask you because we've announced the other restaurants except for the last one. We can just ask your opinions on Tim Hortons, Swiss Chalet, Harvey's, and is that it?
And Boston Pizza.
Oh, nice. There's one thing I want to bring up about Tim Hortons and the dislike of it. And I don't think you guys understand how excited Canadians get when we are mentioned or thought about in any way whatsoever. Because we don't really have a culture of our own. We're a big melting pot. And Tim's has really become this manufactured corporate culture for us. So even if someone hates it, we love that.
Yeah. I get that. They wanted me to hate it.
Right.
Very much so. But guess what? I liked it a lot.
But also that honey cruller slaps.
Great. Honey cruiler's great.
This is my issue. This is my issue with Hortons. I was like, I went to Tim Hortons and I liked it. And then people were like, oh, it's awful. What'd you get? And I was like, well, I got an ice cap. And they're like, well, the ice caps are really good. I'm like, okay. And they're like, what else you got? I'm like, I got Timbits. And they're like, yeah, Timbits are good. And then it just keeps happening. I got a farmer's wrap. Farmer's wraps are pretty good. They liked it.
At the end of the day, it's coffee. When they're like, I don't like the coffee. But I will say for me, Tim Hortons is my favorite coffee spot.
It's your favorite coffee spot.
And
wow.
you know how in New York, people hate on Times Square if they live in New York? They're like,
sure.
Don't go to Times Square. When I lived in New York, it was the first place I took everyone. I'm like, you guys want to see Times Square? This place is insane. Every time I was excited by it.
We did find a good pizza place in Times Square that we loved.
Pizza bar.
Yeah, Pizza Bar.
Pizza bar. Joe's also, there's a Joe's near Times Square.
It was on 41st Street. It is closed the last time I went.
So one other thing about Tim Hortons I want to say is that there are a couple like secret menu items that you can get that are I would say incredible. And it's only like if they have the ingredients available to them.
Adrenochrome?
Have you had have you had a breakfast sandwich there?
Yes.
It's very plain. It's run of the mill.
Right.
But if they have an everything croissant, you can be like, hey, give me a breakfast sandwich, but wrap it in that everything croissant.
Everything croissant.
Okay.
And it's so good.
I did not
Okay.
know
That sounds good.
about this.
Yeah, secret off menu.
I live here. Someone should tell me. I get the newsletter like everyone else.
Mars, you're an everything bagel fan. That's your favorite bagel. Have you had this everything croissant?
I haven't, but that is a great hack at the Tim Hortons. Instead of ordering the regular breakfast sandwich, I say a bacon breakfast sandwich on an everything bagel with mayo. I think it's really tasty. It's very affordable too, and it keeps me full for like half the day.
100%.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Now, of the other chains, like I have a clear favorite and a place that's near and dear to my heart, Harvey's.
Yeah.
It is my favorite. Having them watching them make that burger in front of you is sublime.
Really enjoyed the Harvey's experience. I like the burger bar. It's fun.
So I will say this: we were kind of in the middle on Harvey's. I think we did 3.5 forks each on Harvey's.
yeah, but we
pretty
enjoyed
good.
the experience.
That's pretty
Yeah,
good.
it wasn't bad. I wish that I don't know if I love the burger patty at Harvey's.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
It's and you felt similarly, right? Like it was like the burger itself.
Yeah, I mean, but I liked all the toppings. I like being able to customize it.
Yeah.
That was a lot of fun. And
Yeah,
I
we definitely
like
did
the
not
rings are
not
great.
hate it. We thought it was
Routine
decent.
was good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I enjoyed Harvey's. Harvey's was very solid. Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't give a Harvey's 5, forks. So I mean, 3.5, I think is a really fair.
No, I think
Okay, all right.
that's very
Yeah,
fair.
Yeah.
Like I enjoy it, but like none of these things like speak out to me.
Yeah.
Interesting. Do you have a favorite among like outside of that? Like if there was like you're talking about all of
Chains?
Canadian chains, all of Canadian fast food restaurants.
A&W
Is there
is
anyone that
pretty
you
damn
like?
good.
I mean, it might just be Tim Hortons, and that's okay.
I mean, Tim Hortons, I just have an affection for.
Yeah,
Like,
sure.
I enjoy their coffee, and like everyone gives it shit, but like I enjoy it.
It's very much like a Dunkin' Donuts coffee.
yeah, like-
I liked it was like I like diner coffee. That's the type of coffee I like. I do not like Starbucks.
Like, and I love going to McDonald's and getting coffee.
100%.
Yeah, sure. I like
But
McDonald's coffee.
But the last time I drove through
They
the
lost their
States,
beans.
no one
lost their
has
beans.
coffee. I know we lost the beans.
They lost their beans.
They lost the beans.
We got to get to this point in 1 second.
Guess who we sold it to? McDonald's. They have the
Exactly,
beans.
they have the
so I
beans.
follow the beans.
Wait, did you listen to our live show episode?
No. I don't listen to
doesn't
podcasts.
listen to
I don't
podcasts.
even know what this is.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Wags,
Yeah, this
Scared
is-
right now.
Wags, your Bing search, people have come back and said they actually did lose their beans. I got so much shit at the show because you binged it and you proved I was wrong, and you said Sparky is a liar, my transpo driver.
I
Sparky.
didn't say Sparky was a liar. I said I said it was possibly an urban legend that's being circulated.
You basically called Sparky a liar.
would never say that about Sparky.
From what people are coming back to me, they're saying they did lose the beans and McDonald's took the beans.
I'd love to see some sources on any of this because I
use the Google search engine.
The search I find Yahoo Finance Canada seemed like a pretty good source.
Let me
really
bing
could
this.
be an urban
Yeah.
legend.
I'm gonna
That's
bing.
come true.
I'm gonna bing.
you were getting into something. I'm sorry, and I cut you off.
I don't remember.
About coffee. There's the
Oh, and every time I drive through the States, I go to McDonald's to get the coffee. And every time I've been like, I go to a drive-through and I'm like, I can just get a coffee. And they're like, oh, we don't have I could put one on the pot right now. Like, I'll be, and I'm like,
Yeah,
no,
that's a thing, yeah.
it's not very like a
Yeah.
go-to thing.
Right.
Well, I gotta say this. There's a lot more. I think you said you guys have some good late night options, and there was a lot more like. I went to McDonald's recently, and there's like breakfast and lunch they serve at the same time. You have more late night options. There's like a lot of stuff like that.
Yeah.
That I think with the States, it's like we put coffee off and it's done for the day. You know what I mean? Like at McDonald's or something.
Yeah, a
like
lot of times you go to a coffee shop and you end up ordering an espresso drink because that's the thing they could at least make fresh. But yeah, the coffee pot is not like staying warm all day. Yeah, that is a thing I like about a place like Tim Hortons. And honestly, I prefer the Tim Hortons vibe over the Starbucks vibe. I went to Second Cup, which I know is another like a second tier Canadian coffee chain. That has more of a coffee house sort of energy to it. A lot of people with laptops hanging out, and I just kind of like more of the working class vibe of a Tim's, where it's just kind of like, oh, everyone's in here, and it's not like a place to like write your screenplay or whatever the fuck.
We've never
I
been to
googled
the.
it. I googled it for you, and Google says that the McDonald's coffee is not the Tim Hortons original blend. However, McDonald's coffee in Canada is supplied by Mother Parker's, who used to supply Tim Hortons until Tim Hortons bought their own roasting facility.
Well. It sounds like they took their beans.
Sounds like a bunch of gray area.
Yeah, it sounds like I think you maybe get 2.5 Pinocchios.
2.5 Pinocchios?
It's not a full like 3 to 5 Pinocchios.
They took
but-
their beans, it sounds
Pants
like.
slightly on fire.
Yeah.
It sounds like it was much closer to the truth.
We'll figure out all this out when the month's over. Let's talk about Lil
Hold on,
Canada.
what were we just talking about? Just a second before that.
Coffee.
We were talking about the other chains. To go through that quickly, the only one I like Boston Pizza.
Yeah.
Boston pizza.
Yeah.
I like
pizza
Boston
rolls.
Pizza for the sake of when my family visits, and they are like, where can I bring like 14 people, like
Yes.
children, and
A
like,
large
and
party
just
can hang
walk
out.
in,
Right.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, it's Boston Pizza.
Yeah.
I like that. I like
Big
that
dining room,
aspect.
right.
What Boston Pizza did you go to?
We went to the one on Front Street.
That's the one.
That's the one.
That's the one.
That's the
Okay.
spot.
When we first got to Toronto, we went to a Boston Pizza, and we only went in because they had a sign out front that was like free fish bowls, or no, a deal on fish bowls, and we were like, what are fish bowls? And they were triple mixed drinks.
Yes.
in an actual fish bowl.
I saw these being made.
And it was just so fun to clink them around and cheers with fish bowls.
I zoned in on them immediately, and I was very interested. At first, I thought you meant an actual bowl of fish, which Amelia would be down for. She likes to gamble on
He
seafood.
does like to
as
roll
we
the dice
found
on
out.
seafood.
But I saw those, and I was so interested. Did you spill coffee on yourself?
I thought I did, but I didn't. I can't find. I don't see a drip.
I like it being just a bowl of fish that you take home. Like, we just have so much fish. Please, can you take these goldfish home?
I was gonna say this. You like the working class vibe of Tim Hortons?
Yeah.
You never experienced it up in Hamilton, my man.
Yeah.
You have no idea.
Yeah, I guess I didn't have my driver take me up to Hamilton for my job as a TV actor.
My coworker Sparky, who's working as well.
Whose job is to drive you to set.
They drive actors to set. We're
I know,
both
yeah,
workers.
it's a good.
We're
Hey, it's
both
great.
making
You're
a
both
show
union
together.
guys. It's a great thing that exists within the industry.
You know,
Yeah.
I haven't written a screenplay in a Tim Hortons, but I have signed a lease in a Tim Hortons.
Wow.
And then I got kicked out. We got kicked out for signing that lease.
You're like,
They're like, you can't do that.
Can't
here."
do a business transaction here.
Yes.
There's a restaurant.
Security
That's
cameras
wild.
just zoning
That's
in. Like,
insane.
what's that?
I feel like that's like the exact sort of place you have to do something like that.
Yeah.
Right?
I did that. I did it at a Coffee Bean myself in LA.
I was at a WeWork once, and a guy came up to me and then talked to me about how he wanted to open up a heavy metal bar in Inglewood, which is like a city near Los Angeles. And then he's like, I want to do like a heavy metal like sangria bar, and I was like, just telling him I listened to him. Just thinking in my head, that's a terrible idea, but cool, man. And then he was like, hey, man, because I had like an account where I could print from. He was like, hey, can I print something from your account? And I was like, yeah, like, whatever. And he had me print out his divorce papers.
Oh my god, that's insane.
Irreparable differences.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just obsessed with this sangria metal bar.
Wow.
But anyway, yeah, we should talk about Lil Canada. Lil Canada, previously our home in miniature land. It is in the basement of the Tenor, which is a shopping center, it feels like is kind of in an area akin to Times Square in Toronto, right? It's a very big shopping district, big touristy area, whole bunch of stores, whole bunch of chain restaurants, huge mall there. It is created by a billionaire heir, Jean-Louis Brenninkmeijer, a Dutchman who was raised in the UK and spent $24 million of his own fortune so far to build a miniature version of Canada.
We love it.
We were talking about railroads earlier. This uses the most popular railroad scale, HO scale, which is 1:87 or 3.5 millimeters equals 1 foot, if you can wrap your head around that.
Which we saw. They show the scale outside when you're first walking
Yes.
in. There's like a big bear and then a raccoon. They show Canada's tallest man, and then they show him at 1.18 scale to 1:1/8 scale or whatever. And it's interesting. It's interesting. Look, when I was walking into that, I was like, this is going to suck. This day is going to be bad.
Everything we're hearing in the run up to this is like, okay, this will be kind of like a kitschy sort of thing, maybe, or maybe this will be kind of like, oh wait, this is a weird quixotic, like this passion project that this guy's making for whatever reason, and we're just like, oh, this will be a weird thing to explore. I kind of was primed for that experience, and this was something a topic that the two of you pitched. Like as a thing, and we end up having Mitch and I ended up making the time to go over and be able to tour it fully, which I was glad we got to do so we could discuss it. But like, what was the impetus for wanting to discuss Lil Canada?
May I?
Yes, please.
I did not pitch this.
Okay.
I fully pitched.
Carson
Yeah.
110% was behind this.
I've gone twice.
You've gone
now.
twice.
It's amazing. I love it. It's the best.
So Griff Newman, our friend.
Griffin
Yes,
Newman
okay,
had told
okay.
us about Little Canada
Yes.
and was like, "You have to go.
You have to go."
But,
I was making
again, it could have been in the sense of you have to see Megalopolis. Like
Right,
it could have been the
exactly.
same sort of thing. It's
100%,
like I don't
yes.
really know what to expect here.
Can I? I'm just gonna say my big
Please.
thing now. Can I, Wags?
Well, let me. Yeah, you go on.
I'm just gonna say my big thing right now. I was very mean to the idea of Little Canada. In the live show, I said that if you put Toronto in a juicer and juice out all the cool stuff, and then you're left with traffic and Little Canada, that's Toronto. Everything else is gone. That's what I said. I was being mean to Toronto.
Got a big pop.
It did get a big pop. They were. I mean, they kind of liked me but hated me, and then felt bad. I was joking around. Anyways,
It goes back to what you're saying. Like any attention at all, you're happy to receive.
100%.
Yeah.
I went to Little Canada. My mind was changed maybe on the entire country of Canada. I loved Little Canada.
Yeah.
It warmed my heart. It was a great experience. It was genuinely one of the best things I did out here. I loved Little Canada so much.
Little Canada is magical. I absolutely love going.
Little
I
Canada.
loved
I'm
it so
sorry.
much.
I loved
That
it.
warms
It was
my
so
heart.
cool.
Oh.
It was such amazing craftsmanship. The passion side of it, which again, I was ready for it to be like, oh, this is like The Room or whatever. This is some self-financed boondoggle. It's not that. It is like
At
this is
all.
a wholesome thing where this guy genuinely cares about this. He has a genuine love for his adopted homeland of Canada, and he wants to share it with the world. And he's employing a bunch of artisans to bring it to life. And then what they have created is so fully realized and so well thought out and so brilliantly presented that it ends up being this like incredible immersive experience that to me as an American, as an outsider, this is my fourth time ever in Canada, my first time in the city of Toronto. I'm like learning about this great
It's
land
true.
and developing a more of appreciation for it as I'm walking through these exhibits. I
Which
love Little Canada.
They do a great job with a lot
Yeah.
of the stuff of, Alexander Graham Bell's little cottage or whatever it was. Right? Wasn't that?
There's a bunch of stuff like that. Well,
I didn't learn too much. But it's like Canada's Disney to me. It was so much more Disney-like than I thought it would
Yes.
be. It was really a turning point for me in my Canadian journey. I loved it.
we had a wonderful
Everything
morning.
changed. There's pre-Little Canada and post-Little Canada for me.
Let me do a little more table setting for people who don't know what this is and are maybe we're not aware of its existence. This is from a Toronto Life piece called Model Citizen by Luc Rinaldi. 5 generations back, Jean-Louis' ancestors founded C&A, a global clothing empire with thousands of stores around the world. You might call it the Netherlands' answer to H&M if it weren't a century older. By some estimates, the family is worth $29 billion. Jean-Louis moved to Canada in 1999 to work for the family business, fell in love, never left. And then he visited Hamburg's Miniature Wonderland, which is the largest model train display in the world. It took nearly 800,000 working hours over 17 years to build. Inside a 75,000 square foot warehouse, 1,000 trains weave through impeccably detailed recreations of iconic European cities. And to him, the exhibit wasn't a blast from the past, it was an inspiration for the future. I thought, this is his quote, "Wouldn't it be great if I did something like this in Canada? A single square foot of Little Canada could cost between $500. So a scene in rural Quebec would be something like that, might be $500, and $1,200 for like a parked city block in downtown Toronto. And so you have a ground floor entrance to a largely subterranean space beneath the tenor. And we arrive there, and so you basically see Little Canada, you see the signage, you see some elevators down, and then there are a couple of people greeting you there. One of them was Jay, and Jay is like, we had a little breakfast side quest, because we weren't sure we had time for breakfast, and Jay was like, oh, you totally got time for breakfast.
You
Get your breakfast.
weren't sure.
I wasn't sure. Yeah, I wasn't sure we'd have time for breakfast. And the guy was like, go get your breakfast, come back here, you'll be fine. Like, you'll be fine on time. He explained everything, and he was totally right. And he was also like the rest of the staff, was completely awesome, super knowledgeable, and genuinely enthusiastic about Little Canada. And that is like, that enthusiasm is intoxicating, and that's part of why it's such an engaging experience.
Yes.
This warms my heart to hear. It is a magical place.
Yeah.
And all fueled by this Dutch billionaire who didn't really know much about Canada. Did you see at the end, there's like a wall about him?
Yes.
And there are some quotes, and like front and center, it says, there's a quote that just says, I didn't really know much about Canada. And they put that front and center.
Yeah.
He just learned it through miniatures.
I love that.
And his sons.
Yeah.
Well,
It's a thing that would never. That's like you would never have that if there was like an equivalent in America and it was like some foreigner, so they would never put "I didn't know much about America" as a quote. People would like be tagging it with graffiti. You know, people would be like, like lighting the place on fire. It would be like how dare you not know anything about this country? But like the humility of the people to be like, oh, it's great, you didn't know a lot and you learned some.
Carson, that thing at the end there is very nice, and it would have been great to read that at the end about him. Had we not met the man himself in person.
Well, Mitch, yeah, you just went for it. But yes.
Wow.
What do you do? Wow. We had to go for it sooner or later.
No, it's great
Wow.
because the staff was awesome. The staff was guiding us through it. Skylar was guiding us into the space downstairs, introduced everything to us. Alana, not the knife, a different Alana, helped show us around. And then we met Sophie. Sophie was super helpful. She recognized you from Love. And I hope, Mitch, you recognize that I'm pushing Twisted Metal to all the Love fans.
You were.
I've been doing that.
The Wags is promoting Twisted Metal.
Sophie's gonna be watching Twisted Metal, and Sophie.
I don't know if Sophie will be watching.
Sophie said she's gonna watch Twisted Metal. Gonna get a Peacock
Sophie.
account. Sophie also tells us that Jean-Louis is there today.
Yes.
And we're like, oh wow, Jean-Louis is there today. And she didn't arrange anything, honestly. She just was like mentioned this, and we're just walking around, and then this guy comes up to us and is just like, are you enjoying yourself? And it was just Jean-Louis, just kind of like casually introduced himself. We had been primed for this, and so
it was like meeting the creator from Ready Player One. What's his name?
How tall was he?
He's a tall man.
He's a tall guy.
Tall
Right.
drink of water.
I heard this.
Extremely pleasant.
Extremely pleasant man.
Coiffed.
Great head of hair. Fantastic head of hair.
He was very presentable. He looked great.
This all makes a lot of sense. I have a question for you guys.
Please.
How much did Jean-Louis pay you three to just praise Little Canada today? You just happened to meet the billionaire, you podcasters.
There is like thousands of dollars worth of art around in this studio.
Yeah, there is a painting of an at right above you that looks pretty good.
I will say there is a certain whimsy to Little Canada. There's a little bit of magic.
As soon as you walk in and it goes day to night and you're in Niagara Falls.
Great place to start off.
Like-
Wags almost fell in. Which would have been funny if he drowned in Niagara Falls at Little Canada. It would have been great.
No
Yeah,
water.
there is a day-night cycle that's going through all the exhibits, and they change depending on what time of day it is. Sometimes there's tides, which it's like an incredible level of detail. Sometimes there's fireworks at night. And so that's but yes, the first area you go to is it's divided into biomes, and each biome is a different part of Canada. Some are cities, some are larger geographical regions. The first one is Little Niagara.
Yeah, and it's beautiful, and the falls actually look amazing in there.
They really do.
Like stunning.
Yeah, it's a combination of miniatures and then like some video projection elements.
Yes, but then there won't get to the finale, but like there is an actual tide, water,
rising,
Yes.
yeah.
in the Bay of Fundy.
Oh yes, the Bay of Fundy. We saw the Bay of Fundy.
Yeah.
We came in through we were at the Eaton Center.
We were at the Eaton Center.
Which this is a call forward. We've already talked about this, but we thought it was funny because it's
Yeah.
the Eaton Center.
Yeah, we did a podcast about food. We're
Yeah,
we're kind
the
of
Eaton Center.
basically any
So
place.
I'm not sure if you got. Oh no, you got it.
Oh, the Eaton
The
Center?
Eaton Center.
Yeah.
basically,
I got it. I just...
just to step you through it, it's like basically like any place the Doughboys go is the Eaton Center.
Yeah,
it's like
yeah.
the thing we were thinking.
Yeah, you know what we're saying?
When you grow up in Canada as a small child, you have to learn about the Eaton Company because it's
Really?
one of the oldest companies in Canada.
I did not learn
Like,
about
but
that.
it was founded around like pelts.
Oh wow!
wow.
Oh, so the beaver trade back in the day.
Exactly.
I read
The
all
beaver
about that.
train?
Yes.
What'd you say?
There's the Bieber train.
I didn't say the Bieber train. I said the beaver trade, but the beaver
Oh.
train is a whole different thing.
Yeah. I would rather take the Bieber train than the crazy train.
But
I
it's
feel like.
but it's
I
always
read
running.
the crazy
It's
train,
always
come
running
on.
late to say I'm sorry.
was good as hell.
The beaver trade was like a crazy thing because it was like kind of I read it in the context of a book that was about the huge horrific fire that was in I forget which province a few years. I think it was in Alberta, the oil sands a few years back. And they were talking about like the beaver trade is analogous to the oil industry of just like something that was just like basically just killed off most of the beaver population.
Well, I think it's the fur trade.
The fur trade.
Specifically
the fur trade. Yeah.
It's like muskrat.
Yeah.
It just killed out an enormous population of animals just because of like, collective greed and the industrialization of this industry. And the same thing happened with oil. Yeah.
What was the
But
mall?
anyway, sorry, you were talking about the Eaton Company,
sorry.
and I was just going to say Doughboys Media is kind of an Eaton Company.
Okay, so I pulled up the exact same Toronto.
You didn't like that?
I loved it. I haven't been happy with you all day. That made me. You're winning me over.
Finally.
Yeah, we're just trying to move on.
Yeah.
So I pulled up that Toronto Life article as well, and there are a few choice parts of it that I think are very funny. At the point where Jean-Louis was trying to get investors, he's quoted to say, as they thought I was mad.
Yeah.
They thought I was mad. And then he found one. He found one investor, McLean. Do you know what a
John
Moxie's
John
is?
McLean.
Do you know what a Moxie's is?
No, what is a Moxie's?
There's a couple Moxie's in America.
Oh
but-
yes, I do know Moxie's. Yes.
Yeah, it's like kind of
It's a
like
diner, right?
It's it's like an
late night
upscale
upscale place.
Yeah.
diner type place. It's kind of made fun of. If you're going to Moxie's, it's going to be ironically. They met for lunch at a Moxie's in a square one to start wrapping their heads about how they could recreate Canada in miniature. And then it says there was so much to discuss, they decided to meet again at Moxie's 2 weeks later.
Wow.
And then when they inked the deal to incorporate, they signed the documents and they asked a Moxie's manager to act as a witness.
Wow.
Well, you can't sign those in Tim Hortons.
That's right. They'll kick you right out.
You're trying to build a little Canada in a Tim Hortons. Like, hey, this is just for coffee and get
But
out.
Taylor, did you know that they plan to expand it like beyond Canada's borders? Like they have the other provinces and other cities that they're doing, but he says he wants to create a beyond Canada's border, crafting Vimy Ridge.
Why are you getting me so?
Vimy Ridge?
Yeah, I understand what Vimy Ridge is.
You guys know about this?
Well, tell me about Vimy Ridge.
What you just said there meant nothing to me. I had no idea
Wow.
what any of it.
Wow.
No,
No, that's great. No, it's just how many thousands of Canadian soldiers died at Vimy Ridge?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
Trying to help
Christ.
World War I. It's just it was like our biggest thing. It was
It's
like,
the biggest like battle that specifically Canadians like turn the tide.
Wow. And so
Wow.
this was in the European front?
Yes.
Okay,
Yes,
wow.
correct, yeah.
So they're gonna do a Vimy Ridge.
I don't know how
miniature?
they're gonna do that.
I just feel
So like little dead miniatures and shit. Is that what's gonna happen?
Because there are things they have modeled the Highway of Heroes, and I watched a video with interview with Jean-Louis discussing that the Highway of Heroes is like a thing in Canada where I guess fallen Canadian soldiers are driven down this one stretch of road and people line up and salute and whatever.
Yes.
And it's like presented with a little bit of like appropriate gravity in the exhibit,
Sure.
but it's also like in miniature, so it's like kind of, and it's coexisting with
So it's kinda
Maurice the
cute.
Moose and things.
It's
Yeah,
kinda
yeah.
cute.
It's just an interesting thing.
I mean, Maurice the Moose wasn't in that part, but we haven't gotten to
Yeah.
Maurice the Moose yet. But unlike the marathon where there's a Grim Reaper at the end of the marathon, little funny things.
there's
like
there's a lot of great sense of humor throughout it, which is part of the fun.
And the
Did you
Vimy
see
Ridge
the-
is going to have people drowning in mud. Just little miniature soldiers with
Bubbles.
trench foot.
Yeah.
People
Trench
like
foot.
having
Yeah.
shell shock, and committing suicide. It's it's the classic mini.
It will be fun to see.
Everyone's gonna love it.
Carson, we were asking if I saw what?
The trench foot of the
No,
soldier.
there was another thing. You guys said the Grim Reaper, and then you said, "Did you see?" And then you stopped.
Well, did you see all of the Maurices? Did you
Yeah,
get all of them?
We
This is all of them,
got to
yeah.
get to Maurice, but also I want to say Jean-Louis was so nice,
so nice.
and
How
What was he
long did
wearing?
how-
Also,
yeah,
what was he
yeah.
wearing?
Do you smell
a
good? Do you
green
smell really
sweater
green?
and
Yeah,
it
green
was a
sweater.
He was
collared
wearing
shirt
a
underneath.
green t-shirt that said "Clean Team" on the back. So I think maybe
Oh.
he was cleaning some of the miniatures, and that's partially what he was
that would
doing
make
there.
sense.
Because
Yeah.
I thought it was interesting that it said "Clean Team," and I was like, oh, he built it, but he's here like dusting off
I used to
little
work with a
people.
chef who didn't actually cook, who pretended to cook, but he would come out in a chef's jacket to be like, "Hi, everybody, welcome, thanks for coming to
Wow.
the restaurant." But he wasn't actually cooking.
So you're saying this is what
You don't think
Jean-Louis
it's
was
teenage?
doing?
He's coming out there. He's like, oh, I'm just doing some work in the back.
Jean-Louis is a good man. We saw him there. He was talking with us.
I don't think it was just a photo op.
I just want the listeners to understand that Mitch is sitting on a throne of money while he is saying these things.
Jean-Louis, look, I'm nervous because Jean-Louis is going to listen to this and then not like us.
Yes.
Like, I think he had no idea who, like, you know, what the podcast is like or what we're about. But he did very graciously wise. I got to talk about this. There's like an Italian wall of fame.
Yes.
You don't have to be Italian. I'm not, thank God. But there's this Italian section that they're going to put like people who work in film, and
it's analogous to an Italian restaurant, how they have all the photos on the walls of all the celebrities. And so he was like we have an Italian wall, and he was a bit starstruck by Mitch, to be honest. And Mitch was like an actor, and was like, oh, we could put you on the Italian wall.
And he offered to put me on the Italian wall, which
That's very nice.
Jean-Louis, I accept that offer. Please put me on the Italian wall. But then this motherfucker
So I hear this, and I'm like, me and Emma got to get in on this.
Yeah.
So I go to Jean-Louis. I'm like, Jean-Louis, you know, we got this podcast. We're going to talk about Little Canada. The three of us could be in a little podcast studio. And so he was there, and then as well,
you could have heard a pin drop in the room after he pitched this.
I think Jean-Louis liked the idea.
Jean-Louis liked the idea, but he was with Camille and Nikki, who were helping him out. And they gave me the nicest. They were lovely. They gave me the nicest. We can definitely think about that.
Sure.
Camille was like an executive in Hollywood when you go and pitch an idea and they don't want to talk to you.
Right.
She did not like the idea at all. And I just want to get on the Italian wall. That's all I want.
I think the Doughboys could be Little Lies. I think we could be in a little podcast studio next to the little Tim Hortons, which is in Little Toronto. I think that'd be pretty fitting.
You basically asked a billionaire if you could have a general.
Yeah.
If we could have a Jaguar?
A general.
Oh, a general.
Yeah.
That kind of what it was.
So I would totally ask a billionaire, can I have a Jaguar? I'm like, of course, the car or the cat?
The cat. Which would you choose?
Oh, the cat.
Yeah, the key you got to choose.
That would be pretty cool.
Or
But the cat's got to drive the car.
Or
the cat's the driver of a Jaguar driving a Jaguar. Like that's what I want. A little hat.
With a hat on a hat.
As Marshall made a shot. A shot.
You don't pronounce the T.
Oh, so it sounds like I'm saying shit, basically. A shot.
We should have taken a moment before this and been like, hey, you know, like this is Little Canada is a very wholesome thing. The Little Canada people we talk to are hopefully we're maybe going to listen to the episode. We could have just like not talked about like
Shit.
not talked about like shit and said cusses on this episode.
We could have.
I know we could have said that in advance. We didn't. It's water under bridges.
Have we said come?
We have not said come yet. No, we didn't say come.
Quick, everybody say it.
Jean-Louis, please.
Sorry,
put me on the
Jean-Louis.
Italian wall. And then
You know what else you could put on that wall?
What's
That's a lot of cum.
Oh my God.
Jesus Christ. But it's been littleized, so it's just a small amount.
Mine's always littleized.
Did you get littleized?
Hold on, we'll get to
Yeah,
that.
right.
So
Sorry.
I want to say I went to the Shah exhibit at the ROM, and it was fantastic. I don't know if you saw
The
that.
Royal Ontario
The cats.
Museum. Yes.
exhibit. He offers to put me on this Italian wall. Wags chimes in and says, you could probably wear something better when you get Little Eyes. He offered to Little Eyes me for free. And then this guy chimes in about how I'm looking like crap.
No, you weren't wearing your Spoon Man uniform, and if you're being represented in like 1 to 87 scale or whatever the fuck, like you probably should be wearing instead of like
I was wearing a
shorts
5-4 hat.
you were in the 5-4.
This
But
hat.
you're not
That's
gonna
pretty
be.
good.
You're not gonna
You're gonna see the forks.
They're
on
not gonna be able to
that
pick out those
miniature.
details.
Sure they will.
It
The figures are so
it depends on what miniature you get.
5 inches, which is very big.
You're a giant in the world of Little Canada.
Yeah, 5 inches is big.
I was just saying, and we ended up
It's
getting
above
scanned.
average. Yeah, go
we
on.
ended up getting scanned that day anyway. But I was just like, I think people know you as wearing jeans and like a flannel shirt over a hoodie over a t-shirt rather.
He says this is Jean-Louis. Shut up, would you?
You still got mini eyes little eyes, and he was like, you would come back if you want to get little eyes again. So it worked out fine.
I got Little Eyes. Here's the thing.
I also told him to check out Twisted Metal on Peacock, which I hope you've noted.
Great plug.
I was wearing an outfit that my mom and sister told me never to wear, which is these army shorts and my that little fish white shirt that I wear and this hat.
So you not just wore it to be little eyes, you wore it on the podcast.
I wore it on the podcast, so I don't care about what I wear on the podcast.
So I've talked to the littleization people about
Yes.
like what you can do in that littleization station.
We talked to
and what you
Anthony,
can't.
who was manning the littleization station.
Great guy.
While we visited. Great guy.
And there's not a lot you could. I was like, can I crouch? And they're like, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Like, can I cross my arms? No, that will not work out in the when we build your figure.
This is what I did. I
Thumbs
gave
up was
thumbs
allowed.
up.
We gave
Great.
thumbs up.
That's perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, we were told you can't do anything. And then you see all the examples of other miniatures. I'm like, that person clearly, like, those people did a group photo.
Yeah,
But like
Well-
some people's clothes get a little jumbled up.
Should we explain what littlized is?
Yes, we should.
Wags asked what some people do. Like, what's the
I said,
craziest
yeah,
thing?
people ever get into some mischief. And he was like, yeah, a lot of people like flip the bird, middle fingers. We just can't use those. And he said, and then people ask if they can get nude and get littleized.
He's like, we shut down the place.
There
Yeah.
are children here. We
Wow.
can't shut down to have you be nude.
Never thought about that.
Yeah. But I just like that's someone's instinct of like, yeah, I want to be tiny me, but like fucking.
It's not like you go into
in the
a
buff.
room and go, like, people could still just watch you get nude. Like,
Yes,
there are
yeah.
children everywhere.
Where in Little Canada are you putting a nude person? Like streaking across the field? Like where is the nude
It's
person
really strange.
going? In one of the hotel rooms, I guess.
I think
maybe?
there's maybe a version, there's maybe a human being who's like, I want to be miniaturized of me being nude, and then I want to own that. Because you can also purchase it. And so
Yes.
maybe they want to
Yeah,
own
yeah,
a
yeah.
5-inch version of themselves.
Hang it on the tree.
Yeah, exactly.
I want to say this was a lot of fun. The
Yeah,
green
but-
team.
Sorry, just to
sorry.
clarify real quick, I think people have put it together, but littleization is basically, if you've seen the film Downsizing, the Alexander Payne film,
Same thing.
same principle.
Yeah.
You get shrunk
Yeah.
down. You've
Yeah.
all seen that. You've
Yeah,
all seen
everyone's
Megalopolis.
seen it.
You've all seen Downsizing.
It's actually shot here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, was it really?
Yeah.
At Little Canada? Yeah.
Yeah, they got littleized and they film it all on, like, when they're little mini people.
No, it's shot here in Ontario.
I didn't know that.
It's like or Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. It's just you get shrunk down to a small version of yourself. Yeah.
Yes, as a Wayne Zelinsky type of thing.
Yes.
And here it's just one. You get into one orb. I told Wags this. I went 10-1 after when we were done.
You urinated.
I urinated afterwards. Something's wrong with that littleization machine, man. it fucking worked. I complained. I grabbed Jean-Louis at the end. I was like, "What did you do to me?"
Only what you did to yourself. Billionaire with his cape and monocle.
Yeah, there. I think that there's some parts of that machine that work, but it's a very easy process. You go in, they shrink you down to 5 inches in this little orb.
It's like 128 cameras in a 360, and they take a picture.
Yeah.
And
It's
then
they like
that's
basically
what
body
shrinks
scan
you.
you. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was fun to see the green team working. They were walking through the land like giants, which was kind of fun to
It's really
see.
cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
So one of my favorite parts is that you can walk around the places where they're building all these miniatures.
Yes.
And talk to these people and ask them how do they make this. The train. I'm sure you must have been fascinated by all the train.
The trains are
Stop.
rad. So let's step through the
By
lines
the way,
real quick.
can I also just say that when we went in Wags and I went into the littleization machine together, and that thing was like really like it was like smoking and shaking. To littleize us was no easy feat.
Yeah.
tried to stop you.
Too many people. He was at the gears. It was bad news.
So we start in Little Niagara. We talked about that. We go to Little Toronto. Now, Little Toronto has the Sky Dome. Now, the what's it called now? Not the Rogers Center. Is it called the Rogers Center?
It's the
call it
Rogers
the Sky
Center.
Dome.
Yeah, the Sky Dome.
The Sky Dome is represented, and inside there's something like
8,000
8,000
little
different
people.
little people just populating the inside of the Sky Dome. Some of them you can't even see,
And the dome closes.
and the dome closes. So there's bits of animation that take place throughout.
And they're playing on the little screen. There's a Jays game that's happening on the screen.
It's
a real life Jays game.
1993, like it's the Joe Carter winning.
Joe Carter winning the World Series with the home run.
And the same thing happens in you go to the Scotiabank Arena, which when they started building it was the Air Canada Center, which is where the Toronto Raptors play, and they have the basketball court there. But then they also have on the Jumbotron, they have, I believe it's the Raptors game from them winning the NBA title.
And
in
they won
2019.
the chip.
I
Yeah,
maybe missed that. That's insane.
Yeah, it's crazy. And so that all that stuff is represented. They've also got a miniature CN Tower, and then they've got all sorts of Easter eggs throughout. And the biggest Easter egg is, as we're talking about, and as our stickers represent, Maurice the Moose.
Maurice the Moose.
Maurice the Moose. So there are 4 different Maurices scattered in each of the different biomes. You get a clue sheet. You get like a map and a clue sheet that tells you where Maurice, like through text, where Maurice might be located throughout. And then if you find all of them, and it's on the honor system, you get yourself a little sticker at the end.
You guys had to use the hints?
Yeah, we use the hints.
No, I mean,
use the hints.
We didn't understand some of them.
Yeah.
So.
Sure. Yeah,
I didn't understand most of them, I don't think.
it's a little inside baseball.
Yeah.
Not
Sure,
only did
yeah.
we find every Maurice, I took a picture of every Maurice.
Oh,
We found
that's
every
amazing.
And I don't know about when you went, but he was dressed up in a Halloween
He
costume.
had
and he
Halloween
was
costumes.
So I-
hard as
Another
hell
layer
to
to it.
find.
So I read the newsletter, obviously, and I heard about these costumes, and I was like, how much did they change? How many costumes are there? Is just Maurice, or is other things like Halloween themed?
I think it was just
Maurice.
It's
just Maurice.
But he's also holding
Well-
like a little pumpkin bucket in his mouth, like the pumpkin
Yeah,
buckets
yeah.
you used to like trick or treat and
Yeah,
stuff.
and Maurice is the one thing I love.
It's adorable.
And that's fair.
It's awesome.
Yeah.
He's
That's
a
the
little
one thing
moose.
you loved?
I mean, okay, no, I have to explain
Taylor's
myself
a little bit of a curmudgeon.
I'm not a curmudgeon.
He's a little bit of a
I'm not
curmudgeon.
just playing the ante for this. I'm just saying when you go to one of these events with Griffin and Carson and that group, they get so excited and everything's a bit and you can't enjoy it. So it creates a little bit of a negative experience. I just wanted to enjoy it. Heck, it's a beautiful spot. If I was to bring my nephews and nieces, it would be really, really exciting.
Yeah. If you
And I
didn't
would
want to
enjoy
bit
it.
or have fun with friends.
No, it was competitive. It was like, you guys haven't found Maurice yet, you losers. And then running around pushing kids out of the way.
There was also, I gotta say this, there was, besides the Halloween costumes, Beetlejuice was playing in theater.
So there
Well,
are some
honey,
They
season-
do
there are
change
some
that
seasonal
every time.
alterations.
They
They
changed
changed
that.
what's
Yeah.
playing in the movies every time. I've
Yes.
heard
Oh,
that.
that's
Well, there
Yeah.
was Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, and was it Downsizing? Was the other one?
Downsizing was one of them, and they had a bunch of the Incredible Shrinking Woman, but they also had like they had Bob from Beetlejuice, who was like represented in miniature inside the theater.
Bob
that was a
and
seasonal
someone
thing.
else, another guy.
Yeah.
Bob and Phil. I don't know who the other one was.
Yeah,
One of the other ones.
They came.
My
They,
favorite thing is the fact that there is a Little Toronto in Little Toronto.
Yes, I love that.
Oh yeah.
So
yeah,
you can
yeah,
go
yeah.
to Little Toronto.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it begs the question that there is a
Little
Little
Toronto
Toronto
in
in the Little
there.
Toronto that's
Yeah.
found in Little Toronto.
It goes on
ends,
forever.
never
You're
ends.
saying.
Yeah.
Shit.
Because they have a little miniature making machine inside Little Toronto.
That's true.
Little Toronto.
That's true.
Right.
The,
It's
the
horrible.
little
Russian
Easter
nesting
eggs, the
dolls.
little funny little Easter eggs there. Oh,
Those are real hoot.
yeah.
Yeah.
The Beatles. Did you see?
I didn't see the Beatles.
I didn't see the
band, The
Beatles.
Beatles.
Well, there's 4 like beetles, insects on top of roofs with
That's
instruments.
That's fun and scary if you big eyes. Yeah.
And you see the
Because-
giant rats that live under the city.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Saw some
those
of
guys.
that. Yeah.
I wish those were just bits. Those are
Those are real.
terrifying.
They're very real. Really.
That's a really tough time
Yeah.
for us.
If
at
you
night.
live here beyond November, it gets yeah.
You guys are talking about like kids having a good time there. I looked over at Weiger and he was looking at Jean-Louis with the biggest smile on his face.
That's the best time.
because he just wrote a check for $200,000.
I wish.
The plug.
So we had so you go from Little Toronto, you go over to Little Horseshoe. Now I wasn't aware of this the Little Golden
The
Horseshoe. I
Golden
should say.
Horseshoe,
I wasn't
yeah,
aware of this
yeah.
region.
Yeah.
But Hamilton is within the Little
Hamilton's
Golden
part of
Horseshoe.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is this just a part of Ontario? Is this a region of Ontario?
Well, you got to realize that 90% of our population is in this one corridor in Ontario. And the Golden Horseshoe is a part of that. And
Got it.
goes pretty much from Montreal to Ottawa to Toronto to Niagara Falls, Hamilton to Sarnia.
So this kind of represents
most-
the regions that aren't major cities.
Yeah,
90% of the population isn't just in Ontario. I thought it's 90% along the border. the whole
along
way
the border,
through.
along the border. But
Right,
most
okay.
of our population is hugging the United States, and the Golden Horseshoe is around that and around the Great Lakes.
Yeah. So you go through that. There's a bunch of choo-choos. That's one thing that's happening there. Maybe a small representation of your father somewhere.
Oh, my
working
father's
away.
there.
He's there.
I saw him.
Oh, that's awesome.
They did.
How big is he?
He's 6 feet.
Oh, he was that huge
He was the
model.
kaiju
No, he
size
was just
man.
there at Little Canada, and I was there looking so disappointed in what you've done with your life, Taylor.
Yeah.
Do you know what I will say? So Sophie, who we met, and this was later on. This was in Little East Coast. I believe it was Little East Coast. Sophie said, like in miniature, was a representation of
Yes.
the bar where
This is
her
cool.
parents met. And we got a picture of Sophie pointing at the miniature version of the bar where her parents met. It's just that's a crazy thing to
She's
think
like,
about.
this is like a miniature version of like how I exist.
Yeah.
You're like, oh my God, it's crazy.
Conceived there?
So I don't know. Well, we didn't
Well,
we didn't get
I mean,
into
are
those
the
details.
minis doing what we're thinking they're doing? That's what I'm asking. Were they there?
I will say this: they're working on an East Coast. They're working on the
Little West
I'm sorry,
Coast.
Little
Yes.
West Coast.
They're working.
Yes.
There's a bunch of other biomes in development, including Little Rockies, Little North. The one that's in under construction in public is Little West Coast, and you're
Yeah.
seeing people just sort of walk around building this, like British Columbia.
Did you see Little America? Did you see it at all?
No.
There was a Little America section too.
Oh, I didn't realize that.
Yeah, it was great.
Oh.
There was a Capitol building. There was like a little January 6th.
Oh, that's nice.
And Maurice was leading the charge.
Oh wow.
That's the weird thing about Maurice. Like, you're like, oh, he's pretty nice. And then as it goes on, he's like doing more and more kind of fucked up stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The farther you get deeper into Canada, he's just saying them real.
I've heard him talk about weird things about vaccines.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
super anti-vax.
Yeah, there's a little protest thing, and they're in front of like a doctor's office. They're protesting.
It's him and RFK Jr.
Yeah,
They're
yeah.
up at the
RFK Jr.
front.
is riding him, and when
Yeah.
you find him one time, yeah.
And then you see RFK Jr. is like eyeing him, like licking his lips.
Yeah. It's like, I could throw this into Central Park.
Yeah.
which is great detail too.
It is really
little
amazing,
RFK licking his
Yeah,
lips.
there's a little bit of animation. He's rubbing his belly. So you low Golden Horseshoe, Little Ottawa, which is for Americans who may not know this, Ottawa is Canada's capital, and so we were. I already knew that, but I'm just saying this. So we're in Ottawa, and you
Didn't
see
know.
Parliament Hill.
Didn't care,
Jay had told
but I
us.
do now because of Little Canada.
It is the most boring part of Little Camp.
But here's the thing: we asked Jay what his favorite part was of who helped us out up top. What his favorite part of Little Canada was. He was like Parliament Hill. And Parliament Hill in Little Ottawa is a showstopper because you can see Parliament, and then at night there's a fireworks display, and it's a real
That is
hoot.
true.
And one of the other guides there was telling us that kids will line up while the fireworks are going off in front of Parliament and sing "O Canada," and I was like, that's so beautiful. That's so
Who
cute.
said that happens?
One of the people who works there. Yeah.
That's not true. There's no way. There's a bunch of, we are not that patriotic. A bunch of kids being like,
I mean,
Maybe when school, like a class of third graders comes through on a school trip,
Yeah.
they feel
maybe that
so
happens.
inspired.
Yeah.
I mean, every time that I've been there, which is twice, it has really been a melting pot of people coming to see Little Canada.
Did you feel like the national anthem rising in you when
I felt a little patriotic because the land is. You realize the land is so vast
It really is.
free?
and so small at the same time.
Oh my God, it's coming. No, did you guys? Okay, we talked about this the one time when we went. Was that? Do you feel tired and then kind of sleepy between the nighttime and the daytime?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it
Did
definitely
it kind
affects
of
you.
like trick
Yeah.
your body and
Light
be like,
for sure does that. Yeah.
we
We
were
actually-
yawning so much?
Anytime we turn to nighttime, Wise and I would just lay down on the floor and sleep until the morning. Right?
Yeah, it would happen a few times.
Yeah.
Because it's an accelerated day-night cycle, so we were getting great 11-minute night sleep.
We were wondering
We could have
if
super well rested.
yeah, I would hit REM every
Yeah.
every 9 minutes. We were wondering if in that world is time sped up?
Yeah, so like you're a bug where it's like you live your entire lifetime in 24 hours is like the sort of thing. Like to them, does time? Are they perceive time on a different scale?
Because how many days would it be just in one day? How many days would you experience in Little Canada? If it's 9, what is it? 18 minutes would be a
Something
day.
like that.
I
Yeah.
feel like
I
their
think
day
it's
is just
15.
15 minutes.
it's just a nightmare experience. I think they're living in hell. Like it is every 15 minutes, and like they can't get out of Toronto. They're like, wait, the horseshoe's here, but where's the highway?
Whenever giants are depicted in media, they're always like moving really slowly,
Right.
right? So
That's
I think
gravity.
like time is like affecting them differently than us miniatures.
One day in Little Canada is 96 days.
Wow,
Whoa.
that's wild to think about.
Wait,
Fuck.
what?
So like 24,
One day in
24
Little
hours?
Canada is 96 days. 24
One
hours.
of our days is 96 of their days.
and one of our days is
Oh, I see.
96 of their days.
Yeah.
So you're living a year in it's 4 days.
It's wild to think about.
Yeah, they're in hell. This is their this is the punishment.
Your lifetime would be less than
Now-
one of our calendar years.
Are you going to be
right?
put in there? Are you going to put yourselves through that?
We're talking about it. We're negotiating with Jean.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
you know, I think it might be cool if there's like a little podcast studio and we're all
I don't
in there.
care
Right.
about him getting in.
That'd be
I
cool
just
if
want to get
we're
put
all
on the
there.
Italian wall.
Yeah, it might be
That's
cool
all.
if me and
Right,
Emma are in
right,
there
right.
with Mitch. Yeah, I
Well,
think
you
we'll
do
probably
get
the three
to
of us.
choose where your mini goes.
We
Or
do,
you get,
yeah.
you get like, I would like to be in this area. I don't think you get to pick specifically where, but you're like, I'm going to be in Toronto.
Yeah, and you
Or
could
I'd
be put
like-
in the Rogers Center
Yeah.
or Scotiabank.
I'll just say this. Our weird listeners will come and try to find us at Little Canada. I'm just saying that.
Yeah, for sure.
So if you want to miniaturize us, in which we want, clearly,
Yeah.
you'll get a bunch of weirdos who look like us coming in, which maybe you don't want.
Maybe you don't want them giving some sort of lewd tribute to the Doughboys in miniature, because that could happen too.
Yes,
What
you
kind-
don't want a group of people who are going to come in and start eating the miniatures, either, which is what our listeners will most likely do.
Is it cake?
Petit Quebec. We went through there, and that was where I was comparing. I thought this was a pretty good analogy, comparing Maurice the Moose to the red coins in Super Mario 64. You
Well,
gotta
I said it
collect
was
them all
pretty
in-
good.
It's pretty good, and I think like the red coins in Mario 64, as you progress further in the game, the difficulty starts to heighten.
The
a little bit.
difficulty gets higher.
Petit Quebec, trying to find Maurice the Moose was pretty hard. He's pretty tucked away, and sometimes they'll do a thing where they're like evenly spaced, but with some of the other ones, they'll be like two
Pretty
Maurices
close.
will be like right
Yeah.
next to each other. So they have a huge stretch with no Maurice, and then all of a sudden there's two Maurices.
And he's in these little Halloween costumes, which are so
It's
everything
really, yeah.
is so detailed.
Wait, is Quebec the winterized one?
Yes, it's winterized. Yeah,
Is he like in a ghost costume? Like that would make it really
I thought
difficult.
he was on the ice. Like
Yeah,
he's
like,
in the
He
ice
is-
for
he
one
is-
of them.
He is on
yeah.
the ice for one of them.
Yeah.
I love
Spoiler.
the
Spoiler.
traffic jam in Quebec.
Traffic jam's fun.
It's just like where the cars pull over, and you can just tell the guy's like, "Oh God damn it!" and he has to turn around. That's like those are my favorite of the minis. Is like you can find like realistic things of people just going through their day.
Yeah.
and they're having a terrible one.
I talked to because there's a moment where you can talk to there's the miniaturization, like the miniature makers section, where you have some of the craftspeople who are working, and they will talk to you while they're working. And we talked to them for a bit, and they were like, "Oh yeah, the hotel in Little Ottawa, right? That's where the
Yes.
hotel is." Is like we each got to do our own room,
And
and
that
if
was
you look through
weird.
all the rooms, like some of the rooms are like more like grounded, and some of them are just like bananas.
Yeah.
But it's really cool because they all have their own little flair, and it's just like the sort of thing of like, again, you budget about 90 minutes to get through the whole experience, but you can spend a lot of time there if you're trying to hone in on every single detail that's included and find all the Easter eggs.
They were making a little Maurice there, and I picked it up. I looked under it. It's really detailed. I'm saying like everything down there. They detail everything.
Yeah.
What, like his like hooves and his legs and stuff.
Yeah, that is part of it.
Mm-hmm.
So those are
Like
really
tail?
detailed.
Like
His
the tail?
tail's
His
in there?
tail is yeah.
And he's got like some fur on his undercarriage. Like
yeah,
that too.
yeah,
Okay,
stuff
yeah.
like that too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah.
Yeah,
And that's it though. That's it.
There's a little bit more.
Okay.
Well, that's crazy. Yeah, the antlers got to be.
Yeah,
gotta
oh
have
yeah,
the
the
antlers,
antlers.
yeah,
Yeah.
Well, he's got the Canadian flag, like the little
That's
insignia
true.
on it.
Yeah,
and
that's
part of the
on
detail.
there too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
But yeah, his dick, butthole, his balls. Dick, butthole, and balls.
Wow, that's amazing.
that's
really
what you were
cool.
talking. Yeah,
And he's packing
we know.
heat too, Alex.
We know.
yeah. They're not going to put Maurice in there unless he's packing.
Yeah, and it's cold.
He's representing.
I did like that in like you saying like Montreal is like colder, so like it did show that it was like smaller in Montreal. Like he was
That's
he had,
true.
Yeah,
that's
he had
true.
some moose shrinkage.
Yes. Did you see when they're making the section where they're making all the stuff? There's a ton of Maurices in there.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah. We caught every
They might be adding some more Maurices, but also I think like that
They
as
should.
they add more areas.
Yeah.
But I can see them increasing. They could easily cram in more than 4 per area because there's more places to take them away.
And you know what?
100%.
I will be back to Little Canada at some point. I'm coming back.
I'm coming back for sure.
In between, I went 6 months apart, and one whole section was completed in that time.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
What is the mall?
the other
is
area
it
is
the Eaton
little-
Center Mall that it's in?
No, it's beneath the Tenor is the name of the center.
What's
It's like
it's
across the
close.
road from
It's
the
close
Eaton
to the Eaton Center.
There-
yeah.
Hot tip: there's Harvey's in that building. That's great.
Oh, it's a good
Wow.
Harvey's. Wow.
Is the Eaton Center Mall is like
Of course, there'd be a Harvey's at the Eaton Center.
I liked it. is the Eaton Center Mall is like your famous big mall, right? Like it's
Well,
It
until
is
you
the famous
until you
one.
go to Edmonton, and then
Edmonton's got the world. Yeah, Lisa Gilroy is telling us about the world's biggest mall in Edmonton.
right,
fellow sketch partner Lisa Gilroy.
Wow.
We were on the Sketchersons together. We did a show called Sunday Night Live for a few years.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love it. There's also the first mall. We shoot out near like one of the first malls in Toronto, which is a big mall, but it's kind of in the middle of nowhere or like closer.
What's its name?
On the outskirts. I forget.
It's a mall.
Is it the Yorkdale or York?
Yeah,
something?
Yorkdale Mall. Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
Which is pretty big.
That's like an actual mall.
Yeah.
The Eaton Center is like a central destination to go to.
I love the Eaton Center.
I was having a
It's
great time at the
fancy.
Eaton Center.
Everyone always hates on things that are just. I'm like, why can't it be cool?
You hate Little Canada.
I did not hate it. I didn't like the people I was with. It's a different thing.
You know what?
I enjoyed
Amen to
myself.
that, my friend.
No, but the
Yeah.
What are you going to get Emma? Emma was there.
Oh, no, she was
What?
great.
Offended.
But the Eaton Center, like
How dare you say that about me and Emma collectively?
Yeah.
like when I go to the Eaton Center, like my favorite time. Now this is controversial. My favorite time to go to the Eaton Center is during Christmas time when it's at its most chaotic.
Wow.
And it'll be filled to the brim and people are pissed off. But I just like feed off of. I go there. The trick is to go
feeds
there.
off hate.
Yeah, well, the trick is to go there without any agenda. Like, I don't need to be out of here by a certain time. I'm like, I'm just
He
going to do
doesn't
it.
need any gifts either.
Yeah.
He just goes.
Walk around and fuel myself. It's so much fun. It's wild. It's so many people.
I returned a ring light for an audition where I was auditioning to play the role of Bubba the Love Sponge. This is true.
Hell yeah.
And Joe read as Hulk Hogan. Samoa Joe. He helped me out with the audition.
Yeah, that was a nice
I can
one.
say it now, right? Who cares?
I don't know.
Well, maybe not.
Is that being made?
Was that?
Is that
I think
actually
it's maybe
going
not
to
being
announced,
made
right?
any. I think. Well,
Or
I
did
don't
it
know.
get-
It's
did it
happening.
get-
I think it maybe got.
did it
I
get
don't
killed?
know. We'll see what
I
happens.
heard it got squashed.
I can say it. I didn't get the part. Who gives a shit?
You'd
and
be a great love sponge.
I don't even know if I should say thank you. The world's famous cuck.
I could totally believe someone would fuck your wife.
It was
Well,
funny.
almost fuck his wife.
It was funny. The audition, like people were like, anyone who watched it was like, "Damn, that Hulk Hogan's really good." I was like, "Yeah, Samoa Joe did it. Yeah, it was
Great actor.
I know, but
great
I'm
voice,
saying
too.
like they were never said anything about my performances. Bubba the Love Sponges, Joe knocked it out of the park. As,
Did
as
he book
Hogan.
it?
It's a possibility he booked Hogan. I think Ben Affleck.
But that
booked
speaks to like where our industry is now, though, that you have to recruit a fellow actor to read opposite you to attempt to get a role.
Yes.
Whereas that used to be a process where you go in with like a professional casting person
and they
that,
give
like,
you notes.
Yeah,
and then
but
you would
now
adjust.
now you have to get your friend to do free labor and shoot it on your own. It sucks.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah.
So I hated the Eaton Center because I only got in there and walked to Best Buy to return the ring light, and then I got back and I had like a $15 parking ticket. I mean, just like to pay to get out of there. It was like so quickly. And then I also was like, oh, I'm never going to drive in Toronto again is something that I figured out pretty quickly because I have a rental car and I like.
That's a train. That's a choo-choo destination.
Yeah, I've driven in that my rental car like 3 times total.
Sure.
But there's like a rail stop right under the Eaton
Yes,
Center.
and
Yeah.
walking through there, it was like, oh, this is nice.
That's
if I
cool.
had trained here, I would have liked it a lot. What is the theme park? Speaking of, we're in this world.
Oh,
What is-
Wonderland?
Wonderland.
Oh, that's the
Oh,
best.
did they make a movie about Wonderland? Right or no?
No, are you thinking like Jesse Eisenberg?
Oh, yeah, is that not it?
But it was
Okay.
like
Similar to like, yeah, it's
Called
the same
Adventureland,
diff.
right?
Oh, Adventureland. yeah.
Adventureland.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Wonderland's like our like big amusement park.
We took Griff and a couple of the New York boys this
fun.
summer.
Do you guys know Cedar Point in Ohio?
Yeah, we know Cedar
Yeah,
Point.
yeah.
I've never
they,
been.
They own Wonderland.
Oh,
Wow.
But
So
it used to be a Paramount amusement park. So every ride used to be tied to a movie.
Mhm.
But Paramount lost it, and they're all named something different now. But we all know it like that ride is the Top Gun.
But now it's called
Wow.
Flight Deck. But it's
You know what it is.
Wow,
You know what
that's
it is.
wild. I
Yeah.
love that. I wish I should have. Well, there's still time. Is it still open or is it closing?
Well, actually,
they're switching to Halloween.
They're switching to Halloween Haunt, which
Yeah.
is roller coasters in the dark.
Interesting.
It is quite good.
Yeah.
and a lot of haunted houses.
Yeah.
And they're really, really
It's
fun.
quite amazing.
I'm gonna have to check it out.
Little East Coast encompasses Halifax, or I'm sorry, Nova Scotia more generally, Prince Edward Island, Newfoundland and Labrador. What am I missing? New Brunswick. Nova, yeah, it's got all the provinces that are over on the east coast of Canada, and you're walking through there. This is where they have the section where the tide rises and falls with the day night cycle,
It's
which is
where
really cool to
Sophie's
see.
parents' bar
Where
was,
Sophie's
yeah.
parents' bar is.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah,
That's where the night's young. The lights are off at the old
9
bar.
minutes.
They got 9 minutes to conceive.
Man,
Yeah.
how long would I last in Little Canada? How many milliseconds? I mean, milliseconds is even probably pretty good.
yeah. Honestly,
In Little Canada?
he'd be a
That's
stud.
lasting.
What a stallion.
Yeah.
By the way, speaking of Paramount, just want to give a little plug. Twisted Metal, Paramount Plus up here in Canada.
Oh, how about that? It's on a different
not on
network.
Peacock,
So
yeah.
I've been telling people to subscribe to Peacock. Sophie's going to sign up for the wrong free trial.
You messed up.
Oh,
I have
fuck.
Paramount now.
Listen, Paramount, if you're listening to this, upload your Survivor episodes the day after, not a week after, please.
Wow.
Carson, I got good news for you. Oh, actually, bad news. They don't listen. Paramount's not listening at all.
Yeah.
That is annoying. They should upload the day after. I agree with you.
There was a little bite section, but like that, I was hoping there'd be more of like a little gimmick to it, but there doesn't seem to be. It
The
just seems like
pizza
their actual-
was kind of
the
small.
pizza was kind of small, but it
There was
wasn't
an
like
ice
they
cream
had-
that was kind of small.
But it wasn't like they had like a teeny tiny cookie or anything like that, which I thought could be fun. So we didn't really have any of the little bites, but we just sort of walked through it, and everyone there was lovely to talk to.
You didn't have the Moose Tracks drink?
No, we didn't.
We should have.
There's like a bubble tea-esque drink.
That's fun.
And it's
That's-
like Maurice's piss.
and shit.
And his shit.
And shit.
His shit and piss. You can eat it.
I'm not joking about this. This actually exists. You can get a Moose Tracks drink.
Wow.
But it's not his piss and shit.
But
It
like,
looks like
It's supposed to be.
well,
Moose
it's not
Tracks?
implicit.
Yeah, you're right.
it's on his footprint.
Yeah.
It's true.
I would have loved this. We should have done it. Maybe, you know what? Maybe we have to go back.
You know, what's crazy if you look, because there is that part in the snow, and you can see Maurice's moose tracks, and there's like, there's the hoof prints, but then there's just like a long dragon
there's
behind him.
and there's like a little quote with like kind of like that Jesus quote where like,
Yeah.
well, there's one set of footprints.
exactly.
I was carrying you, and it's like when there's no line, it was cold. What is the line? What is
That's
it
what it was.
exactly?
Yeah,
Yeah.
There's no line. It was
There's
cold.
no line. It wasn't Maurice.
You're in Little Quebec.
I absolutely love this place. I thought it was so cool. I was just smiling the whole time. Emma, you had a great time, right?
I loved it.
And
I
Mar-
was 30 minutes late to meet Mars because I couldn't leave.
And Mars, you've been to Little Canada before.
I've been there. I loved it. I'm so glad you guys went. And I'm so glad you guys enjoyed it too, because I wasn't sure if you're coming from out of Canada if you'd still appreciate it as much as us Canadians do. So it makes me really happy.
I feel like almost like as an outsider, there's like a level of appreciation of just like oh wow, look at how rich and fertile this land is, which is part of the exercise. Oh, look at how I don't really know what
Relax.
Canadian Parliament looks like.
You
Like
get me
that's
nervous about how fertile the land is. I don't know what
land
you're
is
gonna do.
very fertile.
Oh Jesus.
Yeah.
I could breed with this land.
Oh, Mitch, I want to know because there's also like a little Hamilton, and
There is a little
as you
Hamilton,
like
yeah.
Little Hamilton.
what'd
I
you
wish I
think
could
of
get shrunk down, be with that working class city. I love it. It was fantastic.
They did have the original Tim Hortons in Little Hamilton. And
That's
we talked
true.
about putting, if they don't build us a podcast studio, we could go be at the Little Tim Hortons.
The original.
That's right. It's a good place to do it.
You've never been there though, so that's kind of stolen valor.
Well, there's a Tim Hortons in Toronto too, Little Toronto, right? Or is there they're just
No,
the
I
one in
think
Hamilton?
it was just in Hamilton.
Okay, then I missed
Although
it.
there might be one. It's possible.
Watching the live show and talking about Tim Hortons, do you guys know why Tim Hortons is famous in hockey?
He was a defenseman, right?
You know, his big claim to fame
No.
that we wouldn't have without Tim Horton?
What's that?
The slap shot.
The slap shot is Tim
Wow.
Hortons.
Invented the slap shot.
That's amazing.
And the movie Slapshot maybe wouldn't exist.
Oh, no, I thought you meant he directed Slapshot. He created the movie Slapshot.
Yeah, yeah.
The slap shot was a move that he popularized.
Correct.
Wow,
Wow.
that's really cool.
Yeah, I could never do a Slapshot Simon.
He might have been drunk, and then
Well,
then that's when
we
he
heard
got,
a lot about him being drunk.
Yeah.
That's how he passed. Yeah, the land does look really fertile. I noticed a few snow patches in the Toronto, which is not winter themed WAG, so I don't know if you got your hands in there. I think you were in there with the green team. There was a little space where there was like a mission control area. There was the area with the people who were actually crafting the miniatures.
Yes. The
and then there was
makers.
also just this section where what did you say?
The miniature makers.
The miniature makers.
Yes.
And then there was also the section where you saw the cars go, the buses and the cars go into this little area that was kind of a control center, and they would like turn around and be in there and then leave.
Yeah, I don't think we've maybe not made enough a meal about how many vehicles there are. Not just trains in motion, but cars.
They're
boats,
moving,
and they're all moving. They all have
got
cycles.
They all got lights.
The Maid of the Mist at Niagara Falls goes out and goes into the falls and comes
really-
back.
That
really
was
cool.
That was a moment for me. I think we should rank this out of forks for real. But this
Okay, sure.
That's what happened for me. When I walked into Little Niagara, it was on already. I see the Maid of the Mist
took off.
moving through, and I was like, "This is incredible. The boat is moving." I didn't know that the boat would be moving, and that's all it took for me. But a lot of Canadians, I'm like, I'm going to Little Canada. They're like, what are you talking about? A lot of Canadians still don't know what this place is.
So how many people were in there, would you say, at the same time as you?
Not many.
24 maybe. It wasn't like
Yeah.
hugely populated.
It was really busy when we went.
I heard that they need at least like 5,000 to 7,000 people in and through there to break even
Per
A
day?
day?
a day.
That's a lot.
That's
No
not
way.
possible.
Well, here's the thing, and I'm not saying this, Jean-Louis, but is this some sort of tax haven sort of situation? Is like
Is Little Canada? Is that like a city that you can claim or something? Like
I don't live in Canada. I live in Little Canada.
it's got to be hemorrhaging money. It's got to be.
Wait, he's got little
yes.
taxes.
Right.
That's exactly what it
Taxes are the
is.
same taxes you would normally get. They're in 196th, 187th.
Here's what I would say. If this is purely a vanity project, if this is purely something he's sinking his own money into, or if this is some sort of tax dodge, whatever it is, I think it has a wholesome quality to it. I think it is employing a lot of people who do a very specialized line of work.
he's
that,
doing God's work.
I think versus like
He is.
having like some bullshit charity that's like, oh yeah, this is the advancement of people fund, and it's just like funneling money and it doesn't actually do anything.
Yeah,
like
cancer
it's like
research, whatever.
exactly. Yeah, who gives a shit? So some bullshit charity. Versus something like that, versus like one of these open scams or like some some fake product or whatever, some bullshit Kickstarter. At least this guy has something tangible that people enjoy and appreciate.
I agree. Like this is like, well, think of like any hobby you have, or like people who make little trains at home, or like paint minis and like D&D stuff. Like
how have you not started that yet? You don't do that?
I've thought about getting into like Warhammer figurines or like making like fucking building Gundams or something like that.
I'm a big D&D guy.
Are you
and
really?
I love minis.
Yeah.
But painting them, I'm terrible.
That shit's so cool, but I'm just also like I'm gonna get obsessive about it, and where I'm gonna put all this shit. That's my issue.
But the thing is, if I had the money,
Yeah.
and I was like, and it's just like, I want to make a little thing, and everyone would be like, that's crazy. Taylor, you can't just make miniature Brigden and Brigden. No one's gonna go see it. But they might like it.
Yeah.
I
So
like
maybe
it.
12 people a day might come and see it.
Yeah, 12 people in Brigden. Maybe like people asking for directions because they're lost out in the middle of
Yeah,
southwestern
where's
Ontario.
the gas station LCBO?
The gas station LCBO is right there. This town has 3 streets.
But go, Taylor. Sorry, I interrupted you. Are you done saying what you were going to say? I'm sorry.
No, I was just saying. I'm like, it's not. Yeah, it could be a vanity project, but it's like one of those things. If you can do it, why wouldn't you? Like,
Yeah.
I can build this thing. I have money to.
It's not hurting the world.
I think it's
I love
think it's adding a richness and color to the world.
He's
I
a
think
Walt
I think it's
Disney
awesome.
figure. No, I never met Walt Disney, so fuck Disney. Jean-Louis is great. I love Jean-Louis. Fantastic guy. This trip was. Look, I'm just gonna say it. 5 forks for me.
5 forks for little Canada. 5 little forks for little
5
Canada.
little forks.
From Little Wags.
Like on my hat.
Yeah, I just absolutely thought this was so great. I want to go back. I can't wait for more of it to be built. I can't wait to see all of the stuff that's added and changed. Carson, how about you?
5 forks.
5 forks,
Yeah,
wow.
as soon as I came into Little Canada, it was that wow factor as well. Like
Yeah.
as soon as I saw the falls, I was like, oh, this is different than I thought it would be. Yeah. I was ready to make fun of this a lot, and I'm actually having a nice time. And it does have that sense of wonder that you want, that you had as a child when you were like building stuff, you know?
Yeah.
5 forks, moose plus moose tracks.
Wow.
Yeah.
And moose and the line too. Yeah.
Taylor, don't be pressured
I'm
to say what's
certainly
in your heart.
feeling the pressure.
Yeah.
I mean, Carson, you're talking about this whimsy, the magic of child. You were stiff-arming kids running through that place.
I had to find Maurice.
I know.
I understand.
Yeah.
But
get it.
you know, in the spirit of Little Canada, I'm going to give it 5 little forks.
Wow, 5 little forks.
Five little
Wow.
Wow.
It deserves
Platinum.
it.
Welcome to the Platinum Plate Club.
Wow. Platinum.
It's a little platinum plate. This is the little guy.
A little tiny platinum
That's
plate.
cute. Could be part of our podcast tableau.
Oh, so cute.
They don't like it.
They're also going to expand into space. They're going
Are they going to make the Canadarm?
Yes, they're going to make a Canadarm
And not the rest of the
and the International Space Station and a little Chris Hadfield.
A little Chris Hadfield.
Wow.
Yeah, playing.
From Metallica?
Chris Hadfield. Don't you remember the guy,
That's
the
James
astronaut?
Hetfield,
Oh, James Hetfield.
who's also American.
The astronaut who played David Bowie in space.
Oh,
He's
right.
Canadian.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
It's our famous.
I was thinking James Hetfield. What would be a good name for that? That heavy metal sandwich spot or whatever it is.
Oh, the heavy metal sangria bar.
Ooh.
Yeah.
It'd be like you know, I'm just thinking of like Slayer's Raining
Slayer
Blood.
Sangria. Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So well, Slayer Sangria. That's
Pretty
like
good.
a near rhyme. But I was just thinking of like Raining Blood. If it was like Raining Sangria, I don't fucking know.
Rage
good.
Gria? No. Sick.
Yeah.
I was trying to think.
Satana-gria?
Oh,
That's
there you go.
pretty
You know what?
good.
Satan and Sangria. That's the way to make a portmanteau.
Gria?
Yeah, that's the way you make a
Getting
portmanteau.
there.
That's the way to
I
go.
was trying to put panini and Pantera together, but it's not a panini.
It's not a
shop.
sandwich place.
No, so whatever.
It could be.
Well, that's the food they have. It's sangrias and paninis.
One thing
I want to say. What were you going to say?
I was going to know one thing. There was a little bit of a kerfluffle because Mitch was telling everyone that there was a Maurice the Moose that I missed and that I didn't actually deserve my
He
sticker.
missed one.
I saw it. It was underneath the Hamilton Globe. I saw it. I also helped you spot out additional Maurices.
I helped you spot additional. Maurices.
I know. I'm just saying. This was a collaboration.
You missed one of them.
You're
That's
saying
all.
I
It's
missed
fine.
one of
You
them,
got the
and I
sticker.
saw
It's okay.
it. I saw it, and this is not stolen valor. I earned this sticker. I explained to everyone who you said I didn't see
Do you
where that
folks
Maurice
believe 'em?
was, and I saw it. And if
Click
you look
the
at the picture that
online
you
poll
have,
if you believe Wags right
I'm
now.
telling the truth. Would
Okay,
never
go
lie
on.
about that.
That Maurice and Vimy Ridge is going to be so disrespectful.
Him stomping Germans?
We have to ask you one last thing. We
Yeah.
were talking about some financial stuff, money. What is toonie diving?
Oh
my
Griffin.
God. Is this Griffin?
Yeah,
Is
this
this
is
Griffin?
Griffin.
Griffin told us-
This is
Griffin
Griffin told us to
toonie
not look it up and then also ask.
I told him that this is a little blue for us. But okay. So
It's going to be
It's really
very
inappropriate.
level for the it's going to be appropriate for our podcast.
you guys have ones.
Yes.
You have bills in America. We have a lot of coins. We love our coins. You've seen the toonie, which is the $2 coin, correct?
Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah, Carson, explain this in detail.
So if you go to a strip club and you don't have 5s, if you don't have 10s, you don't have 50s, you have toonies, how would you think a stripper would take?
Griffin, what are you doing? You want to ask this on the Little Canada episode?
mouth?
You hold it in your mouth, you lay on the stage,
And strippers are fully naked in
and
Canada.
they
Oh my God,
Yeah.
Griff!
I will say this,
What are you
Griffin,
doing?
Griffin.
at 19 years old, 20 years old, the first thing he came to get was like, I want to go. I want to go to the toonie time. And we're like, we're not going.
No.
It's not a real thing. And I don't think it's a real thing.
Yeah.
We just had heard about it.
people have done it.
Griffin, you naughty little dog. What the
I can't
hell?
believe he messed
I used to work in the strip club in Sarnia, Ontario, for 2 shifts. 2 shifts. I could not handle
What did you
it.
do?
I was the DJ.
You were a strip club
Wow.
DJ?
DJ, yeah, for 2 shifts.
Fellas, dollars clap louder than hands.
I did exactly that.
Wow.
And the first day I did it, the waitresses, because I worked in the theater.
Yeah.
The waitresses were like, "You're the best one who's ever done this."
Wow.
It's in Sarnia, Ontario.
In Sarnia, Ontario.
Because you had some showmanship.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But I knew that I could not keep doing it because I knew a teacher that had taught me would come in for sure at some point.
I thought your mother pulled you out of that.
She said that I
Just keep working.
Yeah,
You
it
won't
was
live in this
beneath
house,
me.
kinda.
Yes, but I was hard pressed.
Yeah.
I love it.
Wow, that's cool. What did you have any technique? Did you were you doing what did you have anything you remembered saying, or were you there for such a short stretch that it's all kind of a blur?
There, it was a blur. I remember like all the names were Destiny or Brooklyn or whatnot. And there would be a window out to the stage and the audience, and then there would be a window to backstage. And I was quite young. I was probably like 19 at this time, and I didn't have a lot have with women.
19 years old, and I would not do well as a strip club DJ.
Yeah, I don't know if you can work as in a strip club in the States. You might be able to work in under 21. I don't know. Probably depends on the facility.
But the women were also sometimes kind of really nice to me, and
Sure.
they would be like, "Oh, they want to see who the new person working is," and I just didn't know where to look, but I wanted to be nice and polite and talk to them. But they were fully naked right beside me.
Oh wow!
So you look at their forehead.
Yeah, well, I was just like,
Right over top.
Yep, just DJing,
That's kind of how Wags talks to everyone. If it makes you feel better.
Oh yeah.
I don't know what it would be like to work at a strip club, but all I want to say is that I think toonie diving should be added to the Olympics. That's all I know.
I can't wait to see how the Australians do it.
What was the name of the strip club?
It's called the Port, the
River
River
Port.
Port.
The River Port. Wait, where was this again?
In Sarnia, Ontario, the cancer capital of Canada.
Hold on. The River Port in Sarnia. It's in Little Canada.
Maurice is there.
Maurice is dead center. He's not dancing.
He's toonie diving.
Next to Mr. Whitlock.
We See one of your teachers? Griff, you should have asked the Little Canada
This
episode.
is a Little Canada episode. This was a thing that you wanted us to talk about.
It was wholesome up until this point.
Yeah, this is revolting.
We're having a
honestly.
nice time, Griffin.
Thanks a lot, Griff.
Thanks, Griff.
Yeah.
5 forks for Little Canada.
5 forks for Little Canada, and hey, 5 forks for our 2 new friends, for first time guests, but not last time guest. We'd love to have
Old
you all
friends
back.
and a new friend who you did. Yeah.
Yeah, of course. Taylor Davis, Carson Pinch, thank you so much for being here. Anything you would like to plug?
You can find us at Carson and Taylor. We are a sketch duo, but we started doing magic 2 years ago, and now people won't let us stop doing it.
I mean, that's why the Doughboys picked us. I mean, we were getting really out there. You guys really know how to pick your guests. I mean, we're a huge get.
Guys, we're
thrilled to have you.
We're wrapping up here, but I'm not going to let it happen.
Yeah,
I'm not letting us wrap up. Carson brought chips,
that's right.
and we are going to taste at least some of these chips before we say goodbye.
All right, what do we have here?
Okay, so
Really quickly,
Yes,
I'm going to show you for 3 seconds something we do at our show.
please.
Oh my
That
God!
was amazing. Holy shit.
Holy shit!
That's right, real magician.
That was
That's just a little
fantastic.
taste.
a cane just flew out of Taylor's hand and hit me.
I,
That's how
audio-
good
I missed it.
of a magician we are.
Our audio listeners have to watch, find the video of that. That was spectacular.
So we have our
By the way, this is kind of what it looked like.
not a lot of girth. The
Yeah,
length is
length.
very impressive.
It's very
There you
thin.
go.
Length
I'm
is
gonna
what
go back.
matters.
This is the best ketchup chip you can get in Canada.
The Lay's ketchup chip. I have had that
We've
chip.
tried
That's a great
them,
chip.
so we have tried those. But you said there was more that we.
So the no name is a very distinct Canadian one. This is cheddar bacon.
Wow.
We got to try those.
Love that.
Now the best regular ripple cut is going to be the no name.
Whoa.
This is going to be
The brand is called No Name.
it's just called no name.
Wow.
And then I know some people here are a bit of a heat seeker.
Oh, hell yeah.
So we got spicy all dressed.
I was eyeing the spicy
Spicy
all dress
all
when I was at the
dress.
Circle K. Wow. Can't
You
wait.
guys had old dress before.
We have had
We
all
have.
dress.
We've
Okay,
had
I was
all
going to
dress,
say, it
yeah.
must be popular.
classic Canadian flavor dill pickle.
Love it.
Yeah, all dressed is you can't get all dressed in the States, but well, we've had it in Canada, and Canadians have sent it to us, and we love it. I wish it was available in the States.
We got a Miss Vicky's Applewood Smoked BBQ.
This is great.
Ooh.
This is
That one's
wild.
actually really good. I buy those off.
Carson, only one we've had is the ketchup chips. This is fantastic.
A spicy dill pickle.
Wow.
Can we do a quick chips and hail?
Yeah,
Come
let's
on.
do a real quick chips and hail.
All right, we're gonna do a quick chips and hail. I'm gonna start it off. I'll just pass it over. Cheddar.
big, no bag too small. If you got chips, just call Chips and Hail. Rescue range, Chips and Hail. Every flavor, it doesn't matter fail. What? So I forget the rest of the lyrics.
Oh, you did
Get it.
great.
I'm fixing a post.
I'm biting into these cheddar bacon potato chips. Right
I'm
now.
starting with a spicy all dress. These are Ruffles brand. Oh my god, I love it. These are wonderful.
Spicy
What
dill
a
pickle.
revelation.
Really good.
Also, these are official chip of the Toronto Raptors. How about that?
Wow.
I'm gonna say this.
Mars, have you had the spicy all dress?
I have not.
Are you a bit of a heat seeker?
Love it. Yeah.
I'm gonna toss these your way.
Yeah, or do you want to pass them?
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna say this. These are the only bacon chips I've ever liked. The
Really?
cheddar,
Cheddar
bacon,
bacon?
chips. Yeah.
I don't think I've had these.
I generally don't like a bacon flavor.
I do like that
Same.
Applewood smoked barbecue.
I'm gonna try to do a little less crinkling and chip crunching in the microphone for the mesophonics.
I'll cut it.
Now that is the most addicting, like, regular chip that we
That
have.
is a great regular chip, just a straight up ripple cut.
Yeah.
Ripple cut.
I mean, I've had all of these, so I'm just enjoying a snack.
I have had the spicy dill pickle and Ms. Vicky's. We do have this in the States. This is a great flavor. I've gotten this at Jersey Mike's. When I was when I was a kid, I grew up in Southern California, and one thing we would do is like school fundraisers is this. We did this in Boy Scouts too, and this was actually the context where we did this fundraiser. So live studio, you'd be a live studio audience for a TV taping, and then they would like give your school or give your organization money. So we went as Boy Scouts. We'd like go to live TV tapings for in my like 6th grade class. We like went to like Family Feud. In Boy Scouts, when we went to like a live, it was like a Dick Clark's Battle of the Bands, and I don't remember the name of any bands, but I just remember the one group that all the Boy Scouts loved, and the whole crowd like fucking loved, and we're like, this is the best band. It was a ska band, and they had a song that was like where the chorus was ripple chip and onion dip, ripple chip and onion dip, ripple chip and onion dip, and the song was called Barbecue. I was just about going to a barbecue, and it's just like a ska punk jam about having a good time at a barbecue, and we're all like, we love this is so great. And then the band that won was like some like, you know, this band that had like a song called like Get Your Funk On or whatever, and it was just like everyone's like, all right, kind of. I guess they were better musicians, but it was one of those things where you saw the divide between the panelists, like the professional evaluators, and then the masses in terms of
a lot of
enthusiasm.
politics.
Yeah, it was
A lot
one of
of
those things.
A lot of
This
politics.
all dressed Ruffles, spicy all dressed Ruffles, is one of my favorite chips. It's weird.
It's a
Has a
fantastic
good-
chip.
Great
It's one of my
spice.
favorite chips of all time.
Great spice. You're right, Emma. It is
tastes
one of my
like
favorite chips.
Tabasco.
It's an all-timer for me. It's
It's so
delicious.
good.
Kind of does, yeah.
Did you
Anyway,
ever find out what band that was?
No, I could never
But you
find
still
it.
remember the lyric?
Every time I have a ripple chip, I think of ripple chip and onion dip.
It was,
ripple chip and onion
I'm
dip.
very familiar. It's Oasis.
Oh, that's who it is. Right.
They're gonna do it in their reunion tour.
Oh yeah, that's a huge.
Was
that's
anyone-
where I'm gonna go.
Like, seeing through Instagram now, the people getting Oasis tickets, I'm like, were you guys fans of Oasis before? Or is it just because, like, they're back?
I don't know. I was never.
That's a great question. I gotta try those ones.
I had the same question. I was like, I didn't know this many of you were fans of Oasis.
100%.
What?
They're fine.
Yeah,
They're fine.
but I'm not fighting for a ticket.
No.
Fantastic. This plain.
I
Ripple
found
Cup
out in the
chip,
process.
So good.
Two of my friends, my get plate goes, Tether and Campbell and Matt Apodaca are both huge Oasis fans. I may have known this for
Oh,
years, but they
really?
were both so excited about Oasis tickets. And Heather's actually like, I'm going to London to see Oasis, like making a trip out of it. I'm just
Who,
they're
Apodaca
passionate
is?
fans. Heather and
Good
Campbell.
for her. That's great.
Yeah.
Apparently they're playing Edinburgh Fringe.
Wow. Really?
Yeah. And I'm like, they're playing one of the, like, opening nights in Edinburgh for the Fringe.
Good for Oasis.
And I'm like, oh, you're taking away from so many of the artists there.
Wait, this is a real thing? I thought you were
Yeah.
doing a bit.
No.
I actually heard about this too. They're actually opening for Matt Kowalek's one-man show. Tales from the Hole.
He's very rat.
He's a rat man.
He is a rat.
Lives in a wall. Man, this No Name, this brand is a revelation. I did not know about this at all. Mars, do you know No Name at all?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Very beloved brand in Toronto. Very cheap too.
These are
Everyone
great.
loves No Name.
These are awesome.
Yeah, they're good.
These
This
dills
company
are
has
great.
done nothing but good things for us.
I'm gonna say this. That's my last one. I gotta try. There's a last bag I gotta try here. The dill pickle No Name. Every one of these chips is a snack. I liked every single one of them. Some more than others, but every single one of these chips are good.
I have the bacon left.
Why? Every chip is a snack.
Yeah, they're all great. They're fucking.
Would you say
fantastic.
any of them are a whack?
No, they're all good. I mean, I have ones I like more than others. The all dressed, spicy all dressed are the best.
Those are the winner for me. But
Yeah, Special Dressing can kill them.
I love those Miss Vickies that
The apple smoked barbecue, like I really like. I like Miss Vicky's in general.
These are real good.
and the bacon chips usually are bad. Those are great.
These remind me of there used to be a cracker that was like a cheddar cracker with a bacon tinge to it. Might have been better cheddars with bacon that I remember enjoying. But I actually kind of like artificial bacon flavor. I think these are working for me.
You ready for my top 3?
Yeah.
The spicy all dress.
Yep.
Those Miss Vicky's smoky the what is it? The applewood barbecue.
Yep.
And the Ripple Cut No Name. Ripple Cut No Name is great. These are actually the dill pickle No Names are probably my least favorite, but I still think they're good.
Do you get dill pickle down there?
We have dill pickle chips. I don't know. Are dill pickle chips as popular in the States? Maybe not as popular, but
we have them. You can get them at like a sandwich shop or a grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
I think wait, have y'all had the spicy all dressed?
Yeah, but I love them.
We'll circulate some of these.
She's keeping the other
one more.
We'll circulate some of these, and we'll have more of them over there post record because we're wrapping up. This was awesome. Thank you for bringing this King's Bounty of chips. What a bunch of chips. Thanks.
Your
for giving us
new
so much
friends,
time.
my old friends.
How fun is this?
We're new friends.
Anytime.
You guys are gonna come back. We'll figure out a chain we can review. We'll put maybe when we're up here, or maybe we'll figure out something that's in both the U.S. and Canada. We can do it remotely. We'll figure it out
Anytime.
But this was awesome to have you here. And hey, we have a little special surprise for everyone. A little special bonus. A little conversation with Jean-Louis, the mastermind behind Little Canada. Enjoy.
Wow.
Hey, buddy, we welcome now founder and chief visionary officer of Little Canada, Jean-Louis Brenninkmeijer. Jean-Louis, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, it's a pleasure to be with you. Thank you for the invitation.
We were just so enchanted by Little Canada. We all had a great time, and our guests for the podcast episode did as well. So Little Canada opened in August of 2021, so it's just been over 3 years. You were telling us that Little West Coast, which was a region that was under construction when we were there, has just opened as of basically, very, very recently. Like, how has Little Canada grown since its opening?
So we opened back in August 21 with what we call destinations. We opened with 5 destinations. That was the critical mass that we needed in order to open to the public, with what we call a 90-minute experience. And since opening, we've added 2 new destinations, and that is Little East Coast, which we opened last summer. And then we opened this year, literally last week, Thursday, we unveiled Little West Coast. And so now we actually talk about a 2-hour experience versus a 90-minute experience.
Yeah, I think we all felt we wish we'd budgeted more time, because we went around and we saw everything, and we saw all the destinations, and we found all the Maurice the Mooses, which I do want to ask about. But I like there's just so much to see there. Is there a particular detail?
Jean-Louis, just a heads up. Nick, I don't think found one of them.
I did find all of them. Mitch thinks I cheated at finding Maurice the Moose, but I did find the one that was in Hamilton that you thought I didn't.
I don't know
find.
how you feel about him getting the sticker still, so I just want to check with you.
I deserve the sticker. It's not stolen
valor.
valor.
I don't think he does. Okay.
Is there a detail about Little West Coast that you have a particular fondness for?
Well, I'm particularly fond for a number of details, because Little West Coast is what I call the bookend of the experience. So it comes right at the end of the 2-hour experience. And the team has introduced a number of new elements, which we've not done before. And the one that really stands out is the mist that comes down the mountains of the Rogers Pass.
Wow. I love that.
Yeah, really, really cool. A second one is there's an orca that comes out of the water and then disappears back into it. And the same goes for a pod of dolphins. And these are all animations that the team over the last 18 months have developed just for Little West Coast. Really, really cool.
I think that I was so surprised by how immersive the experience was. And you know, if you go to the exhibit, you see, you know, a part of your inspiration for it. But was there anything, because for me, when I walked in there, I'll tell you, Jean-Louis, I was skeptical at first. And Little Canada completely won me over. This is the truth. I loved it. And I think that it's just such a magical experience when you walk in and you see Niagara Falls, and then you're thrown into it. Was there any inspiration behind that? It reminded me of kind of going to Disneyland or Disney World when I was younger and seeing stuff like that. Was there any inspiration like that made you make the exhibit or wanted it to be immersive like that?
Well, it really dates back to when I was growing up in Europe. My family, we lived in the UK and of Dutch parents. My parents were Dutch and my grandparents all lived in the Netherlands. And so in the summer, my father would take us to the Netherlands to visit our grandparents on both sides. And we always, every year, visited a place, Maduro Dam, which is, in a way, it's a journey of discovery through the Netherlands in miniature. It's outdoor, it's much larger. But it was really when my father would tell us stories about his youth growing up in the Netherlands. And so my sister, my brothers and I, we learned so much about the country just through storytelling. And that was really the inspiration for this. The whole idea is that we tell stories through the exhibits that we built. But what's really magical is when parents with their kids and the parents start to tell stories to the kids about what is prompted by what they see. So the West Coast is a beautiful example of that because there are elements about Canada as a country that most people don't know. I never knew that there's a desert in British Columbia on the West Coast, that there's a tropical forest, that there's old growth trees, that actually Ryan Reynolds grew up in a house in Vancouver, which we actually depicted and put into the world just for the fun of it.
The birthplace of Deadpool is in Little Canada?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So we actually have a little Deadpool of him in front of the... So, it's a bit of tongue-in-cheek and some humor, which is integrated into the experience. And as you mentioned earlier, there's Maurice, and Maurice is traveling through now, is discovering Little West Coast, because Little West Coast is new. Now, the reason we have Maurice in the world is really just as a facilitator for the guest to discover what we've built. So people are looking for Maurice, but at the same time, they're discovering things that we've put into the destination.
Right.
It's done extremely well. We wanted to find every Maurice, and we did, except for Nick for one.
I found all of them.
We felt great. We felt great about Maurice. He's a little cute little guy. I loved it. Jean-Louis, I got to ask, is Nick and I we got littleized. Has the machine been able to littleize us? Is it still working in overtime to shrink us down to size?
Well, it takes about 3 weeks, 3 to 4 weeks.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay.
Actually
all right.
shrink you. So imagine that we took 128 pictures of you all at once.
Wow.
From different angles.
Too many, I'd say.
Yeah. And so those 128 pictures have to be morphed into one file. And then it needs to be cleaned because there are elements that you want to remove to clean the file. And then it gets sent to a printer. And the printer takes depending on the size of figure that you buy, the 3/4 and the 2.5 inch are what we are made from resin, and so you're actually lying down on your back on the bed of the printer, and then we're just layering. It's a bit like, when you have a CT scan or an MRI. It's the reverse. We're kind of just layering on top. Whereas the 5-inch version is made on gypsum. And so that's in a bed of powder, of gypsum powder, and a laser basically bonds the gypsum into your figure in color.
Wow.
Those looked really spectacular. The big boys.
Yeah.
I definitely want one of those. But yeah, no. I mean, that being also close to the end, and the idea that you can be a part of the exhibit is so cool. It's such a fun bonus to people. I think it gets people so excited that they don't realize that you can be a part of this exhibit once you leave, and that's so fun.
And you can be a part of it for eternity, because it will outlive. Like my father, who passed away 3 years ago, he's in the world.
Sorry.
And he's been there.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So
That's
he's
beautiful.
Been, as it were, immortalized in our world. Yeah.
That's amazing.
I love that. Yeah, that's great.
One thing we were struck with when we were just, beyond the exhibits themselves, beyond the destinations, which are so meticulously crafted, and like you said, have like this tongue-in-cheek sense of humor that we were not expecting. But it was just talking to the people who work there. There's such an immense pride and enthusiasm in Little Canada, like an eagerness to show off their favorite parts of each destination. How much of that comes from just like people having your staff just having a personal investment in Little Canada? Because I was just like, it seemed like everyone was so genuinely excited to work there.
Well, it's two things. One is giving them the freedom to express their art, their feelings about the country. So many guests have asked me, well, who decides on all the little details? And we say no one. We don't. It's the Chateau Laurier. You may recall seeing the Chateau Laurier with all the rooms, and in each room,
the hotel. Yeah,
the hotel, and in each room there was a scene. It's not like that someone or me or anybody else sat behind a desk and started to decide, okay, I'm going to put this in this room, I'm going to put this in this room. What we did is we just said to everyone in the team, create your own room. You decide what you want to put in the room. We told them what they're not allowed to put in, which are the sin industries. I call them the sin industries.
Unfortunately, the Doughboys podcast might qualify as a sin industry.
Oh,
so
okay.
It's true.
You could be breaking your own rule.
Sorry. Yeah.
But this was the outcome. Now, obviously, we didn't want to double up. But so there was one member of the team who coordinated it, and I made 2 rooms actually. One of them is my most favorite movie, which was Shawshank Redemption. And
Great
so
movie.
I decided to create a scene of Shawshank Redemption in the hotel. So that's one of them.
That was you.
That was my
Wow.
Yeah. Now I'll divulge that I didn't do it all on my own because I'm not very good at it. But that was the only reason why that room with that Shawshank Redemption scene in it is because I wanted to put it in there. And so that is the case for all the rooms that we have in the Chateau Laurier. So whether it's West Coast or any other destination, all those little nuggets and little themes, they are decided in the moment when the artisan makes a model and the scene. They suddenly decide, oh, I'm now going to, for example, in West Coast, is I'm going to have a big fish fishing, and he's pulling out a fisherman out of the water.
I like that.
That's fun.
It is a lot of fun.
That's not something you can really think about and design in advance. It happens in the moment when they are preparing, making it and painting it, and then, I'm now going to do this, and then they put it in.
That's fantastic. Speaking to your staff too, almost everyone that we spoke to, like Nick was saying, was so interested in the exhibit. You could tell that there was more than just pride. They actually, they loved looking at it. And Sophie, I believe it was, Nick, showed us where her parents met in Little Canada. There was a bar, and the personal touch of the staff there, also just having a connection to all of Canada was fantastic. It was great.
By the way, for our listeners, we should say that Mitch lost his voice a little bit. That's why he sounds a little hoarse. It's because Mitch and I had a huge fight before the episode, before we did this interview. So that's why he was yelling at me for no reason.
I was not yelling at him for no reason. I lost it on set, Wags.
That's right.
It's filming Twisted Metal Season 2.
Very cool.
Jean-Louis, you might have to, when you littleize Nick and I, year after year, you might have to keep adding to us as we keep doing this podcast.
We've kind
of
get
bigger and bigger.
Added to the waistline over the course of doing Doughboys.
Yeah.
I did want to ask you, because we are primarily a food podcast, and I did want to ask you some food questions. The first thing is Little Bites, which is the foods, the food court option within Little Canada. Mitch and I think our reaction to it was, have you thought about more like littleized food options? Like, could you get like some like really tiny, like a really little slice of pizza or something like that? Not that you can actually hit 1 to 87 scale or whatever it is, but like really lean into the miniaturization, the littleization of the food.
Jean-Louis, as you can see, we aim to keep your customers unsatisfied by giving them tiny food.
No, but a case in point that you bring up a great idea, which we've been thinking about and how we could implement it. And one of the first experiments which we're going to implement is maple syrup. So we have our own little batch maple syrup, which we sell in our Little Things gift shop. And so one of the ideas is, and I don't know if you experienced this, but when I was growing up, we would have pancakes. And we would put a scoop, or my mother would put a scoop into the pan. And then we would say to my mother, can we make a small one? And she would put a little dot next to it, right? Yeah. So the idea is that we're going to introduce little pancakes.
I love it.
Commensurate with Little Bites.
But
great. Then we're going to put a really small one next to it. And then just a little drop of maple syrup on it.
That's cute. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. So, yes, the whole premise of Little Bites is not to provide a full meal to our guests, not at all. It's really just to get a taste of Canada. Yeah, Little Bites. So when we do events in the evening, which we have a catering kitchen, and we have some wonderful space in front of Ottawa where we can do this. We serve Little Bites. So these are little hors d'oeuvres, which we pass around. And we do that in each destination. So if you're in Quebec, it's Quebec. If you go into the East Coast, it could be a little lobster roll. In Quebec, it could be Montreal meat.
Wow.
In the future prairies, we would put a slider. In BC, it could be a Nanaimo bar, and so on. So that's great. That's the idea behind Little Bites.
Another food question. This is not pertain to Little Canada specifically, but you are as you mentioned, you are Dutch, and you grew up in the UK. Is there any Dutch food you really love?
Oh, yes. There's one of the things that in Burlington, that's the only one I know, there's actually a Dutch shop. It's called The Dutch Shop.
Wow.
And my wife goes there probably once every 6 weeks. And we pick up some very typical Dutch things. And one of my favorites is krentenbollen, which basically is a bun, a raisin bun. but there's no cinnamon in it. So in North America, it's very typical to have cinnamon
Yes.
inside it. This has got no cinnamon. It's just pure a raisin bun. And I can eat 6 in one go, just with a bit of butter in it.
Oh man.
The other
Are they little bites? How big are they?
No, they're probably like this, like
Okay, got it.
they're probably a little bit too big. But
Yeah.
they're Dutch. They're not Canadian. So it's a very typical Dutch thing. The other thing is eel, smoked eel.
Oh yeah, I do like
Wow.
eel. I usually have eel in the context of like unagi, like with sushi. But tell us about the smoked eel you like.
Well, I grew up with that on holiday in the Netherlands, because the Netherlands is a very flat country. There are no hills except in the really down in the south of Maastricht. But there are a lot of canals and a lot of waterways. And so one of the activities that we did during the summer was to go sailing. I learned to sail in the Netherlands. And we would pick up a bag of smoked eel. And you would peel the skin off. And then you would literally eat it off the bone. And
Oh my God.
it's delicious, absolutely delicious. And then with a little bit of my father would drink a Geneva, which is a little bit like a gin to wash it down. But you would eat that on the boat. So that we sometimes pick up at the Dutch shop,
Wow.
as well
rules.
as other ontbijtkoek, which is kind of like a gingerbread, which you have for breakfast. You just slice it's like bread. You slice it, you put a bit of butter on it. Also very, very good. Those are really the Dutch. Yeah. And then for hot meal, very typical is sausage, and then carrots and mashed potatoes mixed together in one.
Wow.
So it looks like mashed potatoes, but it's got carrots in it.
Is it got like
Little
a
bit
kind of
of
an orange
bird's
hue to
nest.
it?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it's and unbeknownst to me and my sister and my brothers, it was the perfect way to eat vegetables without realizing that you're eating vegetables.
My dad always said that we were 1% to 2% Dutch. That's what my dad always said. I think it's my good side, the 1% to 2% of me. That's decent. Jean-Louis, I want to ask, as far as this is a big question, I guess, but as far as you opened right around the pandemic. The pandemic halted the opening of Little Canada, correct?
Yes, it delayed us by 14 months.
Oh wow, yeah. And then your opening, you said in 2021. How do you feel about its growth and the word getting out, and where do you see it expanding in the future? Is there anything that you see doing with the exhibit? I mean, it's already so immersive, it's already great as is, but do you have any plans for the future?
Well, so we opened in August 21. We added 2 new destinations, as I mentioned earlier. We're going to add a third one next year. And this one I'm particularly excited about because it's in a separate room, has a double door, and it has its own HVAC system to it. It's going to depict the 3 territories of the north of Canada.
Oh,
and
wow.
Arctic.
Oh wow.
And when the guest walks in, they're going to feel a chill, because we're going to
That's great.
reduce the temperature just enough for it to be noticeable. And so we're kind of adding a sense to the experience. The other thing is, since we opened, the biggest surprise for me was the response from our guests. I never expected that we would get the response that we did, which was people get. It evokes a sense of how do I say it? It's not a rational response; it's an emotional response. And as you mentioned earlier, the team exudes that themselves when you talk to them, because they just feel so proud to be part of. And more recently, even non-Canadians have been coming up to me and the team and saying, thank you for doing this. This is exactly what we need. It's almost like you come into Little Canada, you see the country the way it should be, not the way it is. And you forget about reality. You forget about all the struggles and the challenges that we all face. On top of that is we have ratings which are unheard of. We're at 4.9 on Google. We're 5.0 on TripAdvisor. We got the top attraction in Ontario award last night for the 3rd year running.
Wow.
So
Congratulations.
Yeah,
thank you.
congrats.
As soon as anybody walks in, they're how do I say it? They're hooked, as it were.
Right.
The challenge that we still have is, okay, what is Little Canada? How do you explain it? You can't. It's almost impossible to explain.
It really is. I've been trying to explain
Yeah.
it since we got back, and I can't. I just keep showing people pictures and then going, the pictures don't do it justice, though.
No, and even videos don't do it justice
No.
either. I had one guest who came round into Toronto, and he basically just said, oh my God, what the hell have you done? But that's a response that you would, it's not a response that you would expect. Far from it. It's like,
My co-host. Well, I was gonna say my co-host. I wouldn't call you rational, but you're definitely not emotional.
Sure.
And my co-host Jean-Louis, he had the biggest Cheshire cat smile on his face.
Oh yeah.
You were on cloud nine, Nick, and also. The star of the show that I'm working on right now, Stephanie Beatrice, she took her daughter and they loved it. They had such a blast. So big thumbs up all around from the Twisted Metal crew.
Yeah, my biggest smiles in Canada were at Little Canada and then riding the choo choo because I really love the commuter rail there.
And then the plane ride back.
Yeah, that was no. Actually, I will say this to your point, Jean-Louis, of like. As an American, and I've been to Canada 4 times, twice to Vancouver, once to Saskatoon, and then my most recent visit to Toronto was my first visit to the city. It made walking around Little Canada as someone who, hasn't spent a lot of time in the nation. It did have me suddenly thinking like, oh, I wonder, I should go visit St. John, New Brunswick. I should visit Prince Edward Island. I should see some of these, some regions of Canada that I was previously unfamiliar with. And so, yeah, I think that's a common experience for a lot of people who are at the exhibit. I did have I know we're running out of time, so I did have one more question for you, which was you yourself immigrated to Canada. You come to the country in 1999. Is that correct?
Yes, that's correct.
And you've lived there now for quarter of a century. You've spent a bunch of time there. You obviously have a passion for its natural beauty, its vastness, its culture. But like, what is it about the Canadian people that like you really responded to that made you want to make this into your adopted homeland and made you want to build this tribute to the nation?
Well, I think there's 2 things. One is I didn't know anything about the country. I never heard of Terry Fox. I never heard of Wayne Gretzky. I thought that basketball was invented by an American. And in fact, even
we still believe that down here.
Yeah. And it wasn't until the 2010 Winter Olympics at the closing ceremony in Vancouver when William Shatner came on stage, and I said, "What? Captain Kirk of Star Enterprise is Canadian?" I had no clue. And to this day, I'm still learning about the contributions of Canada in the world, whether it's inventions like insulin, as an example, or whether it's the foghorn, or whether it's even the Robinson screwdriver, There are so many stories to tell about Canada. In addition, I recognized very early on that the majority of Canadians will never have the opportunity nor the means to see all of the country for themselves. It's just too vast. Even after 25 years, there are still provinces and territories that I've not seen. And it takes an effort to actually go to these places because they're not just around the corner. They are, you fly 4 hours here and then you've got to take another flight and then it's another 4 hours north. My son lives in Fort St. John. He's a helicopter pilot.
Wow.
And he's home now. He's come home for 2 weeks, but it's almost a 5-hour flight from Toronto to Vancouver. And then it's 12-hour drive from Vancouver to Fort St. John. And he's in the middle of nowhere. It's stunningly beautiful. He said it's fantastic, but he's in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
And there are beautiful lakes, beautiful forests, beautiful wildlife. And that's what really inspired me to do this, to show how different Canada is from the West Coast to the East Coast, from the North to the South, and all the stories that we can tell about its history, the geography, the people. Because the people is, I say that many times, that we're all immigrants. Every one of us is an immigrant. The only people who are not immigrants are the First Nations, Indigenous peoples. And there, again, there's a tremendous amount of stories to share, to tell and to share. That's what Little Canada is about. We connect people, places, and stories about Canada through the art of miniature.
Well, it's awesome. It's awesome. We loved it, and we're so impressed by it. And I and anyone who's listening to this, who's watching this, who visits Toronto or lives in Toronto should see Little Canada, because it's an incredible experience.
Yeah.
So thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving us a little bit of your time, Jean-Louis Brenninkmeijer, and congrats on Little Canada. We loved it.
Well, thank you very much. It was a pleasure to be with you, and I wish you well with your podcast and all your endeavors that you are engaged with.
Thank you.
Wow.
We're gonna wrap it up. We're gonna wrap it up soon. The podcast, I mean.
Yeah, it's almost done.
It's almost done. Thank you, Jean-Louis. Yeah, the mission accomplished on your end. It's Little Canada is fantastic. We loved it.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Wow, that's this week's big size Little Doughboys Double. I mean, it ended up being a larger episode, but I wanted to call it a little. Fuck it. Can you end the episode?
See you later.
Doughboys Media.